Jimmy.
And đang trực tiếp. Thế đúng không? Mai tới mai đi quan quan công. Tại sao cô mày cô tới đây chút xíu đi con. Tại sao cô biết nè?
Tôi theo chồng tôi đi diện Âu.
Dạ.
Cái tù 12 năm rưỡi.
Dạ.
Mà cảm ơn chính phủ Mỹ đã lưu mang vợ chồng tôi qua.
Dạ. Bữa nay là ngày 25 tháng 4 2026 26. Ngày này mà 50 năm trước cô đang ở đâu nè? 26 nha. Bữa nay 25 chứ.
Đi thăm nuôi.
Thăm nuôi.
Thăm nuôi Hà Nam Ninh.
Thăm ai cô?
Thăm Vũ Quang Tĩnh, người yêu.
Thăm người yêu. Thăm người yêu nhưng mà trong cái quà là cô đem những gì nè?
Gạo nè.
Gì nữa cô?
Cá khô nè.
Dạ. Cá khô là cái gì cô?
Cá khô đó, cá họ
mà không được có cá loại nào mà được, có xương hay là không? Tại nhiều khi cho xương nhiều quá người yêu ăn bị này.
Không biết đủ hết cá.
Đủ loại.
Cá gì đó nhiều lắm mua
Dạ.
ở trên tàu á.
Dạ.
Mua. Trời
Dạ.
ơi, tội nghiệp mấy ông HO lắm.
Dạ.
Nhưng mà cảm ơn chính phủ Mỹ đã giang tay cứu vớt những người tù trong trại cải tạo ra cho nó có chồng con.
Chồng cô.
Quang Tĩnh khóa 3 tình báo.
Chồng cô tên gì cô?
Vũ Quang Tĩnh.
Vũ Quang Tĩnh. Chú có chức vụ gì không cô?
Chức vụ đại úy
úy
cảnh sát làm tổng nha cảnh sát.
Bây giờ chú sao cô?
Chú là khỏe lắm, nhờ sang Mỹ khỏe lắm, 80 mấy rồi vẫn còn
Chắc
khỏe.
tại nhà cô chăm sóc nha. Dạ. Bây giờ nếu mà cô có một lời cô nói với ông xã cô sẽ nói điều gì nè?
Tôi chỉ muốn anh ấy là luôn luôn nhớ thương yêu vợ con và cảm ơn chính phủ Mỹ.
Tại sao cô cảm ơn chính phủ Mỹ nè?
Vì họ đã cưu mang vợ chồng con sang Mỹ đến ngày này chúng tôi rất là sung sướng, ăn uống đầy đủ thuốc thang cho nên chồng tôi rất là khỏe mạnh.
Dạ.
Với số tuổi là 83.
Dạ. Mình là người Việt Nam mình cũng phải cảm ơn chính phủ Việt Nam chứ cô.
Dạ cũng cảm ơn nhưng mà bây giờ thì cũng một lời cảm ơn chính phủ Việt Nam mà
Dạ.
mong cho Việt Nam hòa bình tự do ăn nở.
Dạ. Xin lỗi cô, bữa nay là ngày thứ Bảy, bữa nay người ta đi chơi gia đình hay là ta ở nhà với gia đình thì kêu nọ mà bữa nay cô đi đâu ở đây nè? Bữa đây là hội trường mà Lavender. Rất là nổi tiếng Nam Cali.
Nói chú nghe.
Dạ mời cô.
Ai cũng đi chơi ngày này nhưng
Đúng
mà
ạ.
tôi về yêu nước Mỹ, yêu những nghi viên.
Dạ.
Tôi phải đi ủng hộ cho Army Fanwest.
Tại sao cô ủng hộ Army Fanwest này?
Army Fanwest có tiếng nói để giúp cộng đồng mới vừa bịt miệng và thứ tư vừa rồi mới được mở.
Tại sao bị bịt miệng cô?
Tại vì Army Fanwest nói đúng, họ không đồng ý. Thế là họ bịt miệng thôi. Mà mình đã bị ở Việt Nam bịt miệng rồi. Bây giờ sang đây lại còn cái tình trạng bịt miệng như vậy không được. Thì hôm thứ tư vừa rồi thì tôi thấy nghe nói là cô đã được dùng microphone lại, tôi rất là ủng hộ.
Dạ. Cô có biết là thứ tư tuần rồi ở trên họp hội đồng thành phố Westminster, con cũng có lại đó con quay nữa, Ami Phong Quách lại bị ốm mic nữa.
Là update nữa à? Hôm nay thì tôi lại chỉnh cho. Tôi lại hôm nay tôi có mặt thị trường tôi mắng cho.
Cô có nghĩ là bây giờ nghị viên Phong Quách con đổi tên là nghị viên Ami ốm mic, bị ốm mic không cô?
Không, lúc nào Ami Phong Quách vẫn là Ami Phong Quách.
Dạ.
Mình ở Mỹ được ăn nói không một cái người nào mà phản đối là bịt miệng không cho nói ở microphone là sai, có quyền thưa chứ, đúng không?
Dạ.
Tôi chỉ muốn là cô Ami Phong Quách thắng cử đợt này để mang tiếng nói lên cao. Còn ở đây thành phố thì cũng bình thường thôi, mà lên cao thêm nữa giống như tại Đức Chí đó.
Tại Đức Chí.
Tại Chí cũng ok.
Tại Đức Chí ok. Cô ở Westminster được bao nhiêu năm mà cô?
Cũng 30 năm.
30 năm rồi. Cô thấy tình hình ở Westminster ra sao cô?
Nó như nồi cháo.
Nghĩa là sao cho cô? Trong cháo heo nó có gì cô hả? Tại vì con nhỏ tuổi con không biết con phải không?
Trong cái hội đồng thành phố đó, nó nhào nháo cô đâu đi họp ở đâu. Sau khi tôi đi dự cái hôm mà ở tượng đài như thế, cô anh đi không được nói microphone tôi mới ra.
Là có vinh danh mà cựu chiến binh này kia nọ rồi đó. Dạ. Con đang hỏi cô gì cái nồi cháo heo, trong nồi cháo heo nó có những cái gì cô hả? Tôi đường đó.
Tại vì
ở nhà quê mình có những gì cô hả? Tại con không biết cái gì nữa.
Thôi đừng để cho, đừng nói trên đài nữa. Tức là cái ông thị trưởng ông không có điều khiển được trong cái bốn ngoài đồng viện của ông là thị trưởng 4 đồng viện, thì ông cứ ra thì đóng cửa trong nhà nói đâu mà hôm đó họp có cả mời cả bạn ở bên thành phố Gàn Rô qua nữa.
Dạ.
Cả cái anh Đai Đất Trần nữa.
Dạ đúng ạ.
Trời ơi, bịt miệng cô
Tại Đức Chí nó liên bang.
Tại Đức Chí nó mà bịt miệng.
Nhiều dân Mỹ tới với đó lắm, còn dân cựu chiến binh tới rất là đông.
Tôi có chụp hình với mấy bà mà được gọi là được người hàng đầu đó.
Dạ.
Nhưng mà tôi rất buồn thôi. Nhưng mà sau khi tôi lên tôi nghe đài ấy, thì ông Chí nói là hôm nay cô nghị viên Ami Phong Quách được sử dụng microphone. Thế thì hôm tôi về sớm thì cô chú nói lại bịt lại.
Bữa thứ tư đó con thấy bị ốp mic lần nữa.
Lại lần nữa.
Dạ, tại vì cũng trải qua cái lợi gì đó bầu kia nọ, con thấy bị ốp mic lần nữa.
Thế có phải là nồi cháo heo không?
Dạ. Thì nghe nói chị nghị viên Ami Quách chỉ phát biểu được có một lần mà phải không cô?
Đó, cái lúc tôi ở đó là cô được phát biểu đó.
Không, ý là nghe nói là chỉ được phát biểu 30 tháng 4 thôi rồi vậy đó.
Và nếu mà được phát biểu chúng ta phải
chỉ một lần thôi, nghe nói một lần thôi, cho một lần thôi.
Như vậy nó có gì là gọi là tự do nói đâu, mình đang sống ở nước dân chủ, nước Mỹ, được quyền tự do phát biểu mà tại sao lại bịt miệng cái tay cho ta nói một lần vậy là không được. Vì tôi muốn cô đợt này cô thắng cô sẽ lên cao để cô lên cái tiếng nói của cô, chứ không có để trong một cái thành phố mà một thị trưởng và 4 nghị viên là làm như không được.
Thưa cô là nghị viên của cô là thành nhân người dân của thành phố Westminster.
Dạ,
bây giờ
người dân.
Nếu mà cô có một lời, tại vì thấy cái thành phố Westminster nó cũng là cái nọ, nếu mà cô có một lời góp ý thì cô sẽ góp ý điều gì? Tại vì cô cũng lớn tuổi, mấy nghị viên ở thành phố thì cũng trẻ thôi.
Thì tôi đã từng lên góp ý rồi, tức là trong một cái hội đồng thành phố có 5 người thì chúng ta nên đoàn kết để thắng, mà chia rẽ thì nó như nồi cháo heo. Rồi có một cái người đó cứ 2 tuần là lên chửi tại sao bịt miệng người đó, mà cô Ami Phong Quách là nghị viên mà tại sao lại nói không nổi cô để đem dùng cái bạo lực là không cho cô dùng mạnh thôi, vậy là không được.
Cô là người dân thành phố Westminster, cô có hãnh diện là thành phố Westminster mình có 4 người Việt Nam, 3 người nghị viên và một thị trưởng thành phố Westminster là người Việt Nam và một người Liien Mexico. Cô có hãnh diện là 4 người Việt Nam chắc heo không ạ?
Thì hồi lúc đầu tôi rất là hãnh diện, tại vì 5 người mà được 4 người Việt Nam mình là rất hãnh diện. Nhưng mà nó cứ như chẳng lẽ bây giờ mình sang Mỹ này cả mình không học cái văn minh của Mỹ mà cứ phe nhóm với nhau, thế thì làm sao mà thành công được, làm sao mà đoàn kết được. Tôi đã nói rồi, hồi mới nhậm chức tôi đã chúc mừng hội đồng thành phố mình này chúc cho đoàn kết để đưa cái thành phố Westminster của tôi ngày một phong phú và hạnh phúc, lành mạnh, làm ăn tấm khá. Thế thì bây giờ tôi thấy nó cứ lùng cùng một thời gian tôi bỏ, tôi không đi học nữa, nhưng mà hôm thứ tư rồi tôi đi học.
Thưa cô, trước sau gì anh Nguyễn Minh Chí cũng tới bên này, nếu mà cô gặp anh Nguyễn Minh Chí thì cô có nhắn nhủ gì anh thị trưởng không?
Tôi sẽ nhắn với thị trưởng là mình làm việc chí công vô tư.
Nghĩa là sao cô?
Tức là mình làm việc công bằng, không thiên vị, không nghe, mình có cái đầu nhé. Mà chúc cho hội đồng thành phố mình 5 người đoàn kết, không thiên vị, không chia rẽ nhau, không phe đảng. Đó. Xin hết, chúc thành công.
Chưa hết đâu cô, tại rất tiếc cô là anh Nguyễn Minh Chí này nè, ân cứ viên chức vụ 45 mà thành phố Westminster mình đang có cái chức vụ mà Westminster bây giờ chuẩn bị bầu cử thị trưởng do chị bác sĩ doanh nhân Kimberly Hồ và anh Caleb Manzo. Thì bây giờ cảm nghĩ cô sao về hai nhân vật này?
Cái đó thì để cho tôi suy nghĩ. Kimberly Hồ đã bị một lần, chưa biết gì hả?
Dạ.
Còn Manzo thì tôi cũng không, để cho tôi cái đó là suy nghĩ lại.
Suy nghĩ lại.
Đấy,
Ok.
xin chúc ngài ngày một thăng tiến và đi quanh nhiều cộng đồng. Là cuối cùng mà tôi muốn là thị trưởng của tôi và 4 nghị viên á, 5 người nên ngồi xuống đoàn kết, dù thắng không thắng mình phải ngồi xuống và thảo luận để đưa cái thành phố Washington này ngày một thăng tiến, đoàn kết và hạnh phúc, làm business nó sẽ thăng tiến lên, cảnh sát ok đó. Cảnh sát bây giờ nhà tôi không có người làm vào nữa, tôi rất là cảm ơn cảnh sát. Xin hết.
Thưa cô, con cái nữa đi, con cày, con làm media, con là về giống như truyền thông báo chí, YouTuber, Facebook đó cô. Con thấy YouTuber, Facebook, truyền thông ở Nam Cali nó cũng tùm lum tà la, nó chửi qua, nó quất qua quất lại tùm lum tà la.
Nói để nó đại khái nó giống như là nồi cháo heo.
Dạ. Bây giờ cô có lời khuyên đi con sẽ học hỏi, con tuổi trẻ này con sẽ học hỏi, noi gương theo những cái lời gương cô. Con cũng là YouTuber, cũng là truyền thông. Bây giờ cô cứ nói thả ra, con muốn nói gì nói, truyền thông gì báo chí đi, ở Nam Cali đi. Mời cô ạ.
Thì nói báo chí hả?
Đúng rồi, truyền thông báo chí. Con trong đó có con này, cô cứ thẳng mạnh tay cô nói, cô thích nói gì nói, không sao hết giáo. Con chấp nhận nghe những lời cô nói, tại vì con thấy cũng tùm lum, tại vì nhiều người
báo chí cũng vậy, báo chí
truyền thông, TV, YouTube rồi đủ thứ hết.
Bây giờ nó lộn xộn rồi, đang thưa gửi nó như nồi cháo heo. Báo tôi không đọc, báo người Việt tôi không đọc. Báo người Việt
Tại sao cô không làm báo người Việt?
Nó không có đi đúng chính nghĩa, nó đi theo kiểu đô la
là này hả con? Tiền hả? Dạ. Cảm ơn cô nhiều, chúc khỏe con nha. Mến chào con.
Đây là ba của cô Amin Phan Quyết.
Ba coi mình hết. Chú con xin hỏi chú một câu được không chú?
Xin chào nhé.
Dạ, cảm ơn chú nhiều ạ. Cô nhiều ạ. Chú ơi, bây giờ chú cảm nghĩ sao? Chú có một đứa con gái rất là nổi tiếng cộng đồng là Việt Nam Nam Cali nè. Chú tên gì trước đi chú? Dạ. Mà chú trả lời câu hỏi con hả?
Thực sự nổi tiếng không nổi tiếng thì cái đó mình cũng không sao.
Dạ.
Nhưng mà cái người ít nhất cái người mà ra ứng cử phải là tinh thần.
Dạ.
Làm với giúp những gì mà cộng đồng muốn.
Dạ.
Dân của Cali muốn để mình phục vụ cho dân, chứ không phải là mình ra rồi cái mình phục vụ cá nhân mình, hoặc là mình chỉ nghĩ những là làm lớn rồi mình đàn áp những người mình đó không có điều tốt đẹp cho người cộng đồng của mình.
Chú có thấy chú bằng Âu Lính chú? Bữa nay là 25 chú. Ngày này mà 50 năm gì chú đang ở đâu? Chú đang làm gì chú?
Tôi là biết quân.
Hả?
Tôi là biết đồng quân.
Bị đồng quân. Thì ngày này mà 50 năm gì trước chú? Thì chú đang làm gì?
Ở Đà Nẵng.
Ở Đà Nẵng làm gì chú?
Nó đang đánh ở đâu bộ đất mà.
Chú đang đánh rồi đó. Vậy đó hả? Ủa 25 tay là chưa nghĩ mệt hả chú? Vẫn còn đánh. Chú đánh tới chừng nào chú mới buông súng chú?
Thì cái tay ra đó là nè, rồi cái
25 tay, 25 bữa nay 25 nè.
Ở đó luôn.
Là 25 chú buông hay là chú 25 là 30 chú buông?
Khi ra đó thì mình thì tới đó thì khi mà cầm vô mình mới buông.
Là ngày mấy chú mới buông chính thức, ngày mấy chú mới buông?
Thì khi mà cầm vô mình đã quen cái ngày rồi, nhưng mà cái ngày mà phải cầm nó đừng luôn á. Thì buông xuống đó. Thì đây là ngày cuối cùng luôn.
Ngày cuối cùng là 30 đó.
Không phải là 30 đâu, vì nó 30 là nó vô trong
Sài Gòn rồi.
Nhưng mà Đà Nẵng là trước.
28, 29 rồi, không phải là hai chú. Chú chị Amy Phong Quét hồi xưa, hồi lúc đó nhỏ chị có giỏi lắm không chú, mà sao bây giờ thấy chị tài quá vậy chú?
Nó thì xưa thì nhưng mà nó qua đây rồi 14. thì nó khi nó làm việc, bởi vì việc cái tấm đó là việc tấm thật, cho nên việc khi nó làm những cái công việc mình thấy ảnh hưởng cho cộng đồng, nó ảnh hưởng cho địch nhân, thì diễn ra nó tranh đấu lấy lại cái quyền làm cho con người dân là phần giống như những cái gì quyền người cha họ quyền mức không được control con cái mình, thì đó là một cái vấn đề khó khăn những cái
Thì chú con cái là nhờ đức cha, bây giờ mà chị nghe nó cũng nhiều người ủng hộ chị, con nghĩ là chị sẽ thắng cái chức vụ liên bang 45 năm nay, 45 địa hạt 45 nè. Nếu mà chú có một lời khuyên con gái chú, chị em Phong West á, là dân biểu liên bang 45 thì chú sẽ khuyên điều gì chú?
không. Tôi thì cái đó tôi trước nhất là dù nó làm cái gì tôi vẫn cầu nguyện, nếu mà cái của chúng ta nó thắng, nó vô được thì nó làm, nó giúp cho mọi người mình những cái gì mà cần thì nó sẽ giúp, hoặc là nó kiếm những cái quỹ để nó giúp cho những cái những đoàn đức thành lời rồi thì nó làm, thì tôi cũng nói con không, chứ còn không phải là vô đó là mình làm cái cá nhân mình không lấy được.
Chú ơi, chú là dân của Westminster thì con thấy dân cử nghị viên, thị trưởng cũng này cái nọ tùm lum tà la, trong đó có con của chú. Bây giờ nếu mà chú có lời khuyên với là hội đồng thành phố Westminster thì khuyên điều gì chú?
Thật sự là cái đó là tôi không có dám khuyên, mà con không dám.
Tại vì chú này là người dân của thành phố Westminster, nhưng mà trong đó có con chú là nghị viên nữa. Bây giờ con thấy tùm lum tà la, chú
bây giờ tôi nói cái câu của anh dễ hiểu.
Dạ mời chú ạ.
Dễ hiểu nhất. Bây giờ anh đó nó có 5 phiếu.
Dạ.
5 phiếu mà anh đấy bây giờ trước mắt là họ nó 3-4 phiếu.
Dạ.
Họ là ví dụ anh có nói phải cũng thành cái.
Dạ.
Thành thử cho nên thì tôi không có thắc mắc cái đó, vì con người mà.
Dạ.
Và họ con người mà họ còn áp dụng điều đó, tôi cứ còn nguyện ra nếu Chúa thì về phần cho toàn thực sự thì không có nói là
thì cứ nhờ coi là chú nói là bên kia có mấy phiếu rồi thì cứ giống như là mình thua đi ha, thì giống như ý chú vậy đi. Thì bây giờ chú khuyên bên thắng là gì, điều gì?
đâu cái đẳng thì mình đã biết rồi thì mình đã
Phải khuyên với chú, tại mình phải có lời khuyên chứ, phải có tiếng nói với chú.
Mình tiếng nói thôi chứ mình không có.
Dạ chú có tiếng nói, nếu mà chú
có đủ cả.
bây giờ chú có tiếng nói, chú phải cho nói điều gì với người ta?
Đó, mình nói thì mình thấy họ làm như vậy rồi, bây giờ mình nói không vô ích.
Dạ.
Giống như cái người mà mình nói họ đã đi như vậy thì làm không vô ích. Cho nên mình không nên nói, mình chỉ có còn nếu ý Chúa thì nó sửa chỉ cho họ. Nếu mà họ thực sự là con cái Chúa thì Chúa làm việc cho họ, đó là một việc tốt để họ phục vụ họ bác sĩ và họ có sự yêu thương nhau, họ đùm bọc nhau, ganh tị nhau, mấy gì tốt.
Chú hỏi câu cuối cùng là chú là cũng là ba của chị em Phong West, chắc là người nổi tiếng nhất là cộng đồng ở Nam Cali, thành phố Westminster. Mà bây giờ chiến tranh cũng 50 năm rồi, bây giờ nếu mà chú có một điều mơ ước thì chú sẽ mơ ước điều gì chú? Mơ ước cầu mong điều gì chú?
Bây giờ thực sự là tôi không có mơ ước gì hết đó. Bởi vì
bây giờ nếu mà chú có một điều mơ ước thì chú sẽ mơ ước điều gì chú?
Giờ mình thấy thì mình thường mình thấy, nhưng mà mình đâu có làm gì được. Mình thì luôn luôn mình cứ muốn dân tộc mình là có sự tự do, mình và làm ăn phát đạt, rồi tự do ngôn luận nói vậy. Thì đó là cái vấn đề, và nó đẩy cái đất nước lên giàu có thì mình rất là vui mừng. Đó là cái vấn đề. Bây giờ anh nghĩ đi, nếu mà tôi nói nếu mà người Việt Nam mình rất là giỏi, nhưng mà đều có một cái là họ hạ bệ thôi, chứ mình thấy mình qua đây 4-50 năm đó, mà biết mình biết bao nhiêu người Việt Nam mình, bao nhiêu là bác sĩ, bao nhiêu là kỹ sư, rồi lên công trăng không có,
Hồng cao đó,
không có hồng cao, đã bộ trưởng rồi không có, tướng tá không có, chứ không đâu, thì giỏi lắm chứ. Nhưng mà đều có cái là họ không muốn, nhưng mà họ vẫn làm đây được, bởi vì mình đổi luôn cái quốc gia, mình cầu nguyện thôi để cho con nước trong đó họ đổi thì gần trở lại một. Bởi vì Australia làm thì giống như mình đánh em đang nó đánh như vậy cái xứ cộng sản này một tài giống như Cuba cũng vậy.
Chú đó chú đi lính ở quân đoàn nào vậy chú?
Tôi đến đầu miền Nam rồi tôi làm anh chứ.
Dạ. Bao nhiêu năm vậy chú?
Thì 4 năm.
4 năm.
Bị thương băng.
Bị thương ở đâu chú?
Cổ mình rồi.
Ồ, bị cổ mà còn cũng hay à.
Mình á, bị
Ủa đập mìn mà dính với cổ hả chú?
máy bay rước tôi về liền.
Ồ vậy đó.
Khi mà đạp bị thương rồi máy bay tới rước vô bệnh viện là
Trời, bị thương 3 lần tất nhiên là được sống 3 lần rồi chú. Dạ. Dạ. Cảm nghĩ chú sao chú có đứa con gái mà làm gì chính trị chú? Có thích vui lắm không chú hay là buồn chú?
tôi thử tùy nó phải là cái thích không mà mình không có làm được.
Dạ.
Mình cũng không nói được thôi, còn tôi là chỉ có còn việc rồi, chứ còn thực sự tôi cũng không muốn mà cũng không nói không muốn mà cũng không nói muốn. Mình biết đấy, mỗi người có một cái thích, cái người thì thích học kỹ, cái người thì cho tôi giáo, cái người thì thích chính trị để giúp dân đủ thứ đâu. Cho nên vấn đề đó mình thấy có bạn dám nói rồi khuyên hoặc là này cũng dám.
Cảm ơn chú nhiều, chú tên lại nữa chú.
Để tên là
Phạm Văn Tư. Phan Văn Tư là ba của anh chị Emmy Phong West.
Dạ. Không, tôi lên đoàn 12 ngày đi 3 đến 4.
Dạ, cảm ơn chú nhiều nha, chúc sức khỏe chú nghe, mến chào chú. Đó là ba của chị Emmy Phong West mà con. Đây em xin hỏi cho cậu. Facebook Hốt Cái Live Show TV, YouTube Hốt Cái Live Show TV số 99, YouTube Hốt Cái Live Show TV số 22, YouTube Hốt Cái Live TV số 9, YouTube Người Việt Cái Live TV, YouTube Người Việt Cái Live TV số 9, YouTube Live Show Cái Live, Facebook Hốt Cái Live Show TV. Ở đó bà con bữa nay là ngày 25 tháng 4 2006 năm Cali.
Please feel free to grab some snacks, enjoy yourself. We'll be starting shortly.
Bữa nay là cái bàn là ngày tranh luận bà con của 4 dân cử bà con, 4 ứng cử viên.
Get my water in the car.
Là bà con, đây là cái fly của chị Emmy Phong West nè bà con. Đó. Đây là cái fly của Emmy Phong West nè. Đó. Đây là hai Đó là của flyer nghị viên em không bà con. Còn này của anh Trương Võ nè. Bữa nay là tranh luận bà con, tranh luận giữa các ứng cử viên bà con, chức vụ liên bang 45. Đó. Bữa nay em thấy hội truyền thông Việt Mỹ qua ba tới rất là đông bà con. Có anh phó hội trưởng Vũ Nguyễn Việt Di Trú, có anh Michael của Bosa Media 365 Media TV. Bữa nay chắc có anh Nguyễn Minh Trí nè, có anh Trương Võ nè, có anh Thơm Võ nè, có chị Amy Von West nè, có anh Nguyễn Minh Trí nè. Bữa nay là tranh luận các bà con. Hình chắc khoảng chừng 15-20 phút nữa sẽ bắt đầu bà con. Thì bữa nay này là do đảng Cộng hòa tổ chức các bà con. Facebook bà con có thể vô YouTube là Lý Đô Sòn Cali TV hay là phố Cali TV số 99 em trực tiếp trên YouTube đó bà con.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Đây là nghị viên em không ghét đó mà. You want espresso? No, you there's something. Can you? No. Câu này câu lại cô nói là bữa nay là Thơm Võ với lại Terry Ren. Cô mới nói là có báo cáo là anh Nguyễn Minh Trí và anh chú Thơm Võ không có tới. Đó là cô Terry Ren, cô mới vừa lại có báo tin rồi mà con. Thì tình hình chạy cao thì mình không biết. Đây là có anh Michael của Wama nè. Hello anh. Podcast 380 Media. Đó là của hội truyền thông Việt Mỹ Wama. Bữa nay anh em hội truyền thông Việt Mỹ Wama tới cũng đông mà con. Nghe nói anh Minh Giang cũng đang trên đường tới, anh hội trưởng hội truyền thông Việt Mỹ. Em cũng là thành viên của hội truyền thông Việt Mỹ các bạn. Đây là của đảng Cộng hòa tổ chức các bà con. Giờ ăn trước đi bà con ơi. Thấy em chưa ăn giá là giờ em ăn trước đi. Facebook phố Liien TV bà con. YouTube phố Liien TV số 99, YouTube phố Liien TV số 22. Đó là anh chủ cái hội trường Lavender bà con. Facebook phố Liien TV số phố Liien TV. YouTube phố Liien TV số 22. YouTube Bosa Cali TV, YouTube người Việt Cali TV, YouTube người Việt Cali TV số 9, YouTube Lý Đô Sòn Cali TV, YouTube Lý Đô Sòn Cali TV số 9, Facebook phố Cali TV. Đây là 380 mà con. Anh Vũ Linh 380. Đưa đây. Đằng kia đã ăn rất là nhiều nha bà con. Rồi ăn rất là nhiều rồi ăn lắm. Tha hồ ăn. Này là đảng Cộng hòa tổ chức đó bà con. Nghe cái bài là cuộc tranh luận á. Cuộc tranh luận giữa các ứng cử viên vô chức vụ liên bang 45. Bây giờ bà con đang ngồi ăn nha bà con. Thì chút xíu xong thì em sẽ tính sao. Em hỏi thêm nhiều người nữa. Ứng cử viên chức vụ 45 của Đảng Cộng Hòa năm nay có 4 người Việt Nam. Anh thị trưởng Nguyễn Minh Trí, đương kim thị trưởng thành phố Hồ Chí Minh, và chị nghị viên Phương Quét, và anh Trương Võ, và anh chú Thơm Võ các bạn. Đấu với lại anh đương kim dân biểu liên bang để rớ Trần các bạn, Đảng Dân Chủ. Thì năm Cali truyền thông báo chí rất là nhiều bà con. Thì chút xíu chắc có đông thêm người tới. Đây là sự kiện của Đảng Cộng Hòa bà con. Anh này tới đầu tiên là anh chuẩn bị đó là cảm ơn tổ chức. nhạc Mỹ bản quyền phải ốp mic vào. Mở nhạc Mỹ mạnh quá phải ốp mic phải bản quyền. Mở nhạc Mỹ bị bản quyền mà con ốp mic nha.
So we represent people, they represent the people of the 14th district, but they also represent the Rather than myself introducing the candidates, I would like to give each of them 2 minutes to introduce themselves and to tell us why they think that they are the best candidates for this league.
How you doing, everyone? I'll stand up so you can see me. Oh man, this is not going to work tonight. Can we get someone to fix that feedback? Okay. All right, all good. All right. Anyways, I'm going to try my best not to speak too loud. My name is Chung Bo, for those who don't know me, but I just want to say thank you for everyone to come tonight. Thank you for the organization and then the owners of this place, Lavender Hall, to allow us to be here tonight. I am a Republican running for this seat, the 45th district. I was the former mayor of Cerrito, council member for 5 years, and then after that, I retired. I recently also just retired as a police officer, 28 years, in the city of Torrance. And I say that because all my life I believe in a life of service, and the service is going to continue on after I retired. I wanted to do this to make sure that we take back this seat from Derek Tran, who honestly has not done what he was asked to do when he ran for office, and that's to represent the folks in his community. And a big part of that community is sitting right here to represent the people of Westminster, but also throughout the 45th district. And so I make a pledge to you that I will always be accessible, always be available, and always work hard for the folks that live here in this district. Thank you very much, and look forward to all the questions and answers from the people. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. It's such an important day. Can you guys hear me okay? It's echoing. As a mother, wife, small business owner, and educator, also I work in the finance. So I work. Okay. I think this is too loud. It's echoing, right? Okay, so I work in the finance institution helping with our veteran, the VA loan. It is a very important loan. It's the best loan in the nation for a veteran. Thank you. And this is much better, right? Okay, and that's something for you guys, so this might be easier. So as a councilwoman in the city of Westminster, sitting councilwoman, I'm running for Congress because apparently city council meeting wasn't chaotic enough, as some of you guys might know. So I am a refugee who escaped from the communist regime in Vietnam, and my dad served alongside the Americans during the fall of Saigon. Later he was captured, tortured, and then released, and that's when we escaped on the fishing boat. And we're so thankful to be a land of the free because of the brave. And my family chooses freedom. I am a mother of 3 boys, as I briefly mentioned, Micah, Josiah, and Noah. And so they trust me, and I know how to negotiate with terrorists. As you know, they're little terrorist middle schoolers, right? So I am running for Congress because I believe in common sense, belong back in Washington. We need leaders who will fight for safer communities, lower costs, freedom of speech, which I know very well in the city of Westminster as a city councilwoman, and the American dream that gives this little girl from Vietnam a future in this great country. And let's be honest, Congress could use a Vietnamese mom in the room, as some moms here, you know, because when politicians start acting up, I know how to say enough, sit down. Let's get the job done and fix America. I am not a career politician, as you guys all know. A lot of you guys know me from day one. You know where I stand. I am a citizen fighter. I am running because I love this country, and I believe America's best days are still ahead. So if you are ready for courage, common sense, and maybe a little less nonsense out of Washington, I am Amy Fan West, and I'm asking for your support tonight. God bless.
So our first question is about the cost of living. I filled my my car with gasoline on the way in today. It was $90, which is only the second time it's been like that. So I'd like to give each of our candidates the opportunity to talk about what they will do to improve the cost of living for people living in the 45th district and in Southern California.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much. First off, cost of living affects everybody, not just in California, but everywhere in the nation right now, but more so in California. You know, I get, as I'm walking, I'm talking to folks say, hey, you know what, our gas price is too high. You know, cost of living affordability is an issue here. It's because we live in a state called California. California is truly a problem right now. If you compare us to many states out there, we don't understand what affordability is because we have a governor with a certain party that dictates where our money should go. That money can't even be accounted for. So one way we can make sure on the federal, congressional level, to make sure we bring back affordability is to make sure that we go after the fraud and the waste. And that's the one thing that, as those who know me, I've been a police officer for 20 years. I was a detective of fraud. That's what I did. That was my background. So I was investigating fraud before it became cool. Before everyone started to talk about it in the media. Before Nick Shirley even started going out there, right? I'm not saying anything about that. Nick's doing a great job. But my point is this. You have someone with experience to investigate fraud, to go into Congress, and make sure we capture these fraud cases. But more importantly, to put those folks in jail. I don't care if you're the NGOs that are doing the programs, I don't care if you're the elected officials locally, state, or federal. When you break the law and you take the taxpayers' money, then you need to go to jail. You're wasting it, right? And in order for us to really bring back affordability is once we get that money, that goes back to the people. But truly, how do we run our household? When we don't have enough money, we cut. We cut spending. We don't go out that extra dinner or so forth. But in government, it's unlimited, it feels like. And what do they do? Especially in California, they like to increase tax, increase fees. Well, when you have that unlimited supply from the people of California in America, government has no checks and balances when it comes to that. And that's where I will make sure that we continue to cut taxes for the people. When you don't have the money, guess what? You won't overspend. You're going to have to live within your budget. And that's what's important as government, is that we need to control our spending. We don't have a problem with revenue because all of our taxpayers pay our taxes. Then the problem is the spending. We've increased spending by so many millions and billions of dollars when really have we seen it here locally. So that's something that we need to look at, something I will do. I will guarantee that I will investigate the fraud out there. Thank you.
Same question, what would you do to make things more affordable and make life better for the economically in the state of California, Southern California, and the 45th district?
Thank you. As we all know, affordability from gas price to housing, as you know, my sign is saying making America affordable again is doable. The issue is our government waste. They use our money as if it's someone, because it's not theirs, number one. That's why they're wasting it. They're sending out overseas to other countries for other stuff when we're supposed to keep it here, fix our roads and streets, our businesses, then also the housing. As you understand, with our housing situation, nothing is affordable. Like he mentioned, gas price to grocery. When I talk to people at the grocery store, they're like, oh, I double my bill on going to grocery store to buy food now because of inflation and everything else. Now back to affordability, as you know, housing is so important. In the state of California, we have the highest price of everything because the highest tax, and New York, I guess, have the highest tax. But affordability, the issue is the bureaucrats and the government. Now, we understand that to solve this affordability, we have to increase supplies, right? Supply and demand, cut red tapes, and that's what we have to do. And then not only that, protecting families who are struggling to stay in the house that they're living in because they can't pay the rent or pay their mortgage, right? As a councilwoman, I have fought, as a sitting councilwoman, I have fought against reckless rezoning in my city here, the city of Westminster. By the way, welcome to my city. Thank you. And thank you. And, the decision they are pushing to rezone in our district here of mixed use, when a certain area, yes, you can have mixed use where it doesn't affect anyone by the freeway, byways, yes. But when it comes to single homes, you cannot do a mixed use next to single homes, because what you'll bring is a different group of people into that neighborhood, but not only that, the value of their homes will decrease, and we don't want that. Now, what we have to do is we have to make sure the best candidate understand that affordability is bigger than housing. It is inflation, like I mentioned with you guys earlier, over-regulation and the rise costs hurting working families. I support practical solution, streamlining permits, which is from the federal and the state, right? Expanding attainable housing, protect homeowners and renters, and creating more pathway for home ownership. We need a smart growth, not top-down mandates from Sacramento or Washington, to bring local experience as a sitting councilwoman, fiscal discipline, and a common sense plan to help family achieve the American dream. And what my game plan is, if you send me to Congress, what I plan to do is release BLM land, not Black Lives Matter. BLM is the Bureau of Land Management. And we, as the Fed, they own 90% of BLM land across this nation. Imagine if we just release 3 to 5% this problem and create more jobs in America here. My game plan. If you send me there, we can fix this, but not only that, we allow the younger generation, Gen Z, to start owning so they would not become a socialist group of younger adults, right? Because once you own something, you want to take care of it. And you take care of it better than put money out and spend on that. So that's my plan.
Okay, as a member of Congress, what would you do to improve the healthcare system here?
Okay, as you know, healthcare, like Obamacare, right? Obamacare promised that you can have any doctor you want, you can go anywhere you want and lower costs. But if you think about it, I don't have to say this, all of you guys can attest. You can't go to a doctor you wanted. Your costs for the doctor and your visit is much higher. Is that true? Raise your hand if it's higher than before. Exactly. So there's the evidence, right? So it's not me talking. You guys all experience it. So healthcare, we have to modify, we have to improve, meaning we have to make sure there is a private and a government partnership. It's very important because for us, we have Medicare for those who need it, right? The low-income family, we have that for them. But then also for those who work at a certain amount where they can't get Medicare, right? They have to pay out of pocket. But with out of pocket, we have to be competitive. We have to make sure that we have funding because as your next Congresswoman, I take care of the budget. Congress people hold your budget, hold your purse, because all the tax dollars go to Congress. And we split it out to, education, we split it out for veteran, we split it out, the pie, to our small businesses, to healthcare. Healthcare is so important. Imagine all the money that we send out to other countries to teach LGBTQ, well, we can bring it back here to help our education. We, in the state of California, right? It's unacceptable. We need to change that. But first, we need to make sure it's affordable, but not only that, the medicine, to make sure it's affordable. Because if you look at other countries, their medicine is so much cheaper. It's doable. The pharma is another thing I would target as well once I get to Congress. Pharma have a monopoly over healthcare and over everything. We need to make sure that we don't have them as a monopoly. We have to break that up. But also, you know how the Democrats say your body, your choice, but yet they're pushing vaccination, they're pushing other stuff. It's your body, your choice. You should choose what's best for your family. If you want a vaccine, go ahead, by all means. If you don't want to, It's your rights, and you know what's best for your family. Also now with Planned Parenthood, if you want an abortion, you can do it if you want it. Because for me, I value life from the womb to the tomb. The Fed should not use that money, your tax dollars, to pay for an abortion. Because that's up to the people, what they want to do. If they want it, they can do it, but if they don't want to, then they don't have to. But we should not use that federal money for that, to kill a life.
Thank you. I'll try to keep it around 2-3 minutes so we can have more questions from the audience. First off, healthcare has been an issue for all of us. One of the problems is that Obamacare is that it really doesn't really allow for the free market to really kick in. One of the things that we really need to look at is open up the healthcare to a free market so we can, people know best about their health, and we should allow them to pick what healthcare they want, what health plan they want. And so to do that, we got to make it a free market. And that way we can go across state lines, and as a congressional member, we can do that because we go across the state lines. And that's one thing that our party has been pushing, is that we have allowed for a free market health care system. So that way you're not tied into one market in California or one market in other different states, but when you open up the market and there's competition, it lowers down the health care costs. The other thing is that we need to increase HSA accounts, right? Those accounts are what's important for us, that we allow the folks to be able to put away more money. So that way, when it comes time to retirement, when it comes time to when we actually need the health care benefits, that we are allowed to put more money in it when we are younger, to put in for a retirement health savings account. So that's something that we need to increase at a federal level. That's stuff that we do federally, right? Is increase that contribution. And that way, more folks can put into it. And that's some of the things that I think that a lot of people don't even know about the young folks, is that we need to make sure we educate those folks to put into those HSA accounts as well. So that's something I would focus on. Those are realistic plans, and those are things that we can actually achieve. And that's something I will work on. Thank you.
I'm going to ask one more question, and then I'm going to give the audience the opportunity to ask questions they have. If you don't mind lining up in front of this, I'll give whoever wants to ask a question the opportunity to ask a question. But I have one more question. What are your feelings about the current conflict in Iran and how it impacts people in Southern California?
I think President Trump, as you know, he doesn't want endless wars. For me, I don't want endless wars, because we shouldn't send our men, our daughters and our sons to fight. That, remember the last 20 years we lost, and when Biden withdraw, we lost our men, we lost everything, we lost our resources and material back then. And not only that, our allies were captured, tortured. That's unacceptable. Their true leadership is through strength, and that's what President Trump is doing. But not only that, I think what he's doing, to be honest, this is my prediction, with the whole Iran war right now, as we know what he stands for, he doesn't want endless war. I think he's going to say, you know what, if you can't make this deal by maybe within a few more weeks, a month is the longest, and then he said, now you guys take care of it. You guys take care of the war, because we don't want to send our men there. But now this is the thing, as a refugee, escaped from a communist regime, the false Saigon. My dad served alongside the Americans. The issue with the Vietnam War was that the government played politics, and that's why we lost Vietnam. If they truly give the Vietnamese the resources, one weapon for a weapon that's lost, and kept their word and kept on their end, then we would still have our country. But because that didn't happen, and the propaganda that happened, war is horrible because we live under it. I escaped when I was 5.5. We witnessed my grandpa's brother, who didn't go at night to re-educational camp. They stabbed him so he can't crawl away anymore. And that's how he died. So they make an example of you. We understand what communism is. We understand what war is like. It's not pretty. There's a lot of people that are hurt. So therefore, I believe what Trump would do is say, this is your country. You take care of it. You won your freedom, you fight for it, you got the bad guys out, now you do your job and the rest of it. The same concept for Venezuela right now. There's hope for Venezuela, right? It is a socialist country, but there's hope now that the people on the ground, they can actually make it a life for themselves and make it into a republic, right, where they have freedom. They can do that. So therefore, with the war right now, I am against endless war. I don't want war if it's not necessary. But if it's in the best interest of America, because when you send me to Congress, I represent America. I don't represent Vietnam. I don't represent North America. I mean, North Korea, South Korea, or whatever. But I represent America. Now, if it's the best interest for Americans, you guys are all, then that's what I would vote for. Does that make sense?
Thank you. I think it's worth noting that. So the Iran war is obviously a hot topic right now for all of us, right? You know, as a police officer for as long as I've served, there's a lot of things that we have to put into effect as a police officer. Sometimes people don't understand the things that we have to do to make sure that the people that we serve are protected. Now, I'm not in the situation room with that administration. I'm not in there calling the shots. So all we have is what we see in the media, right? And so with that, you have to understand, you know, Trump made a pledge that he was not going to have endless wars. So the fact that he had to do what he had to do, there must have been something that administration was privileged to, that had information to, that caused him to actually go against his own word. And it takes a lot for someone to do that, right? It must take a really serious situation. Now again, as a mayor and council member of the city of Cerritos, we had to make decisions. Sometimes that decision is based on information we had at the time. Unfortunately, the folks don't have that information because it may be confidential. And those decisions that were made with the information we had in hand. And then sometimes the folks might agree with us, sometimes they might question it. But sometimes that confidential information in their level is the top secret information. So, am I for endless wars? Absolutely not. I don't think anyone in this room would be. But at the same time, you know, the previous administration also has drone strikes, also deployed force on other nations, right? And the reason why is that they may have information back then that we don't have. So let the administration do what they need to do. Hopefully he stands by his word that he's going to withdraw the troops when that time comes, when things are done. It's going to be difficult for us right now. We're going to have to go through a difficult moment. But when the administration makes a decision to do something, especially when Trump said he wasn't going to do, it's got to take a lot for him to go back on his word to do that. And you know, at the same time, we shouldn't just pledge blind loyalty to an administration, but we also have to understand there's decisions that have to be made at the top level that we are not privileged to. And when that time comes and that information comes out, heck yeah, we're going to question it. But right now, we want to make sure that whatever information he has that protects our nation and our troops overseas, that we're going to make sure that he carries out those plans. And at the end of the day, he's looking out for the nation of America. And I will support that. Thank you.
Be brave enough to come up to the microphone and ask a question. Okay, so I'd like to give you the opportunity to ask a question.
Well, this is a really difficult question to ask you, and Donald Trump has a lot of Iranian donors in this country, and I have a lot of Iranian friends. And when Trump was not acting, when the Iranians were being murdered, supposedly 40,000 in one day, but prior to that, my Iranian friends that were Trump supporters were going to turn their back on Donald Trump because they said he's not doing anything. We're all dying in Iran and he's doing nothing. And so President Trump decided to act for, I'm sure, that there are many reasons that we're not privy to, but one of the main reasons was that so many Iranians were dying. And he acted just like he acted in Nigeria when the radical Islamists were murdering. They murdered in Nigeria 500,000 Christians, right? And now they're murdering in the Republic of Congo and they're murdering in the Sudan Christians. But this is my difficult question, and this is very important. Many Jews in America are very worried right now. And this, you know, is coming from, you know, what is happening in Iran. And they're very worried. And they're worried that we have in this country radical Islamists. We have Hassan Piker, who spoke at Yale University and saying we have to destroy empire, we have to destroy terrorist state, right? And so what I want to ask you too is, are you supporters of Israel? And since CARE is actively engaging now in taking over the state of California, what are we going to do? I want to know if you're supporters of Israel, and will you stop this engaging on the part of CARE to take over the state of California for the radical Islamists? Thank you.
Thank you for that question. So Israel is an ally of America. So are many nations. And I will pledge that all allies will be a friend of the U.S. Not just Israel, but all allies. Taiwan and so forth. All the other nations as well. So we shouldn't just single out one nation. We have to make a pledge that we support all nations, including Israel. Okay, so that, hopefully that answers your question. And two, anything that comes into our state or our nation is never run for Congress, that's the state. That has anything to do with Sharia law, Islamic beliefs, that they want to take over our legal system, right? And I don't have anything against Muslims, the religion itself, because we're American, we're free of religion. But when that religion comes into America and try to take over the legal system and try and divert what they believe in and try and influence our American values, absolutely not. So that's very clear, I hope. But I want to also understand, so many people have talked about Israel, because I've talked the nation right now, right? But we also have to remember we have allies throughout the whole entire world. And we need to stand behind them, no matter what. Because when that time comes, we may be the biggest and strongest nation, but it still takes a world to make peace throughout the world, right? So we need to make sure we bring everyone on board. So because of that, I will support all allies, and definitely I will not allow that to come. Okay, thank you. And real quick, by the way, that was not a difficult question. It was a very easy question to answer.
So, as I mentioned earlier, if you send me to Congress, I represent America, America first, not the interests of other country. Okay, that is very important for us because we've seen other politicians, career politicians, when they get to Congress, they have sent out money and wastefully to other countries, and then guess what? They pocket back to them and their friends. And that's an issue we have. The trust, the mistrust of the people against our government is huge right now. But to bring that trust back, we need to bring transparency. Transparency is key. Now, of course, we have allies around the world. It's important. But the thing is that we have to remember who we serve. We serve the American people, the 45th district. If you send me there, I hear your voice of what you want. And that's what I will vote for. Right? I represent you guys, not special interests, and I have no special interests. Most of my donors are pretty much small donors from the district here, which translate into votes, and that's what matters. And I don't care. I have people who come to me and say, hey, if I donate $200,000 to you, will you push this agenda when you get to Congress? And I say, no, I cannot, because the things that I work for the people and by the people. And that's what I stand for. And you guys have seen me. I ran for Congress before. This is not the first time I'm running. I ran against Katie Porter. So I know everything about Katie Porter, but besides that, you know what I mean? This is not the first. So the issue is, yes, I will support America. I will support our allies who are for us, but there are corrupt government, okay? And that's where we have to be careful, and we have to factor in who do we serve. We serve Americans. And then also too with Sharia law. Sharia law is not compatible. Nothing against Muslim, because I have friends who are Muslim, but they're not radical, they're not practicing Muslim, right? But the issue is, they agree with me as well. If they do practice what it preach in the Quran, basically we are a threat to them. We are, it's not compatible. We are a traitor to them. They will kill us. So Sharia law is not compatible in America here. They are taking over local government. We've seen that. In the state floor, they've taken over a few seats. So we have to be careful because we have a sleeper cell in our nation. I talk to many veterans who are Navy SEAL and whatnot, they're my friends. And they believe we have sleeper cell in America here. And we have to be careful. And we have to make sure that they don't wake up and destroy us across this nation. But as of right now, if the sleeper cell does happen, it's going to be pop up here and there. It's collaborating across this nation. So we have to be careful. And as I talk to law enforcement, and I have friends in Homeland Security. They say their eyes are on different target across this nation. So safety is important for us. I will be working closely with a law enforcement, Homeland Security, to make sure that we as Americans are safe for our family, our children, and our way of life. Thank you.
I thought this was like a crossfire debate, so I get to respond. Next question.
First, Chong, Amy, thank you for being here. I was looking forward to seeing all 4 candidates, not quite sure what happened, so thank you for being here. A couple of things, both you're a little bit unique in that you guys have had experience in office before, so I have kind of a twofold question. Because of that, would you please talk about your successes and what you pushed for and why it wasn't successful, and how will that apply, and how will you apply that to the city?
Just because of time consideration, I'm going to have to make an announcement in a second. It takes a little bit interesting. I'll give you the opportunity to reply. Just to make things interesting, I'm going to cut it to 90 seconds and give the opposite candidate the opportunity to rebuff for 40 seconds. Start.
So the things I've been doing to help the city of Westminster, as a sitting councilwoman, I know that I was the one who initiated to bring funding to our city here because I understand that we need money. We were on the brink of bankruptcy. And so I put on the agenda to incentivize, to get a third party to hire onto the city to incentivize to seek out funding in the state level and in the Fed. And so we were able to bring into the city of Westminster $3 million to help with senior citizens, to help with small businesses, and to help with law enforcement and public safety. And that's huge. Imagine what I'm doing now when I get to Congress. I will do so much more. Now also with a homeless situation in the city of Westminster, we have a population of almost 100,000. We have only 2 homeless liaisons. I see the need, law enforcement, the chief of police brought it to my attention. I go, I'll make it happen. I don't micromanage my staff. I told them, whatever you need, I'll give you the resources, and then you run with it. So we allow them to hire 2 more homeless liaisons, and they're a badass. I'm sorry, but I have to say, excuse my French. But they are able to clear homeless at the park, which a lot of parents are concerned about because they have kids playing at the parks and needles and whatnot. And then also they're able to clear homeless at small businesses. That is huge because in order for those businesses to thrive, we have to make sure it's a location and a place that other people can come and do business and buy from them. So that's what I did. I know I have to be brief. Go ahead.
Thank you. So, as a beautiful. Okay, so as a council member, real quick, and thank you for bringing up the obvious that you only see 2 candidates up here instead of 4, right? And I have to say that's very disappointing, not just to me, but to Amy, because most of you are here to see all 4 candidates. And I think, to me, that's a really I'm not gonna try and speak French that Amy just used, but I think that's BS. That, you know, this was set up for 4, and then last minute 2 of them decided not to show up. So, but you have a commitment for both of us, and we're both here. So I want to say thank you to Amy for being here. I think I'm 9 seconds to answer the question, that's okay, because I think you owe me some time for the other questions. But anyways, in regards to when I was on council, one of the things that I was very proud of is this. It's very simple. 0 tax increase in our city. Okay? And I say that. I say that because when I ran for city council in 2020, they also, the previous council, put on a tax measure on the ballot to raise our sales tax. I was against it. I opposed it when I was running. I won, it lost. Okay? And then on top of that, right, I was told by the city manager at the time, before I got into office, we need you to support this tax measure because we may go bankrupt in 3 or 4 years if we don't. When I got into office that first year, I hustled. We worked with the conservative council that we had, and we opened up that budget book. We went line to line and line to cut things that didn't need to be put in the budget. City council, if you're not alert, staff will put things in there just because they will budget things just in case. They will also budget things 4 or 5 years down the line, and they won't even come near it, but they'll put it in this year's budget to make it look like it's inflated, and to make it look like we need the money. So that's considered capital improvement projects, right? Those are important, but if we're not gonna get to it because we don't have enough staff, enough resources, why put it in the book? So we went line by line by line, and guess what? That first year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year, we were able to not touch 1 penny from the reserve. And we can put in extra money into reserve because our sales revenue went up. And most people don't know us really. We are a low property tax city. What that means is we gave up our right for property tax, so we have redevelopment money. And then the state, if you remember, years ago took away redevelopment. So what we did was we focused on business and to bring in business and also cut the waste in our city. And so I was proud to say we never even talked about tax increase when I was there. Now the council that's there now is raising fees, talking about putting a ballot on the measure, because guess what, folks? They're not the majority Republicans anymore.
That's right.
Okay, so that's what I'm proud of, and that's what I would attest to what I did for the people of Cerritos. Thank you.
I'm just going to give the next speaker to ask another question.
So my question is going to have to do with the tyranny of COVID. Let me just start by saying, you both are very, very in with what communism is, and my questions are going to have to do with the ideology of what we're going through and practical solutions to it. So I've listened to both of your bios, and you both talk about the danger of coming to America and what happened to you, but neither one of you really talk about the hell of what Vietnamese people went through in their country and what they're still going through today. That's not my question, but you are uniquely well suited to speak on this topic of communism and the communists in America today. Progressivism is communism. So we suffered in 2020 with the tyranny of the majority, taking away our rights, our God-given, inalienable rights. And in the group that I ran with Nettie, we fought COVID tyranny for 4 years straight. I don't want to ever have to wear a mask. I don't want to have to be told to stand 6 feet away. I don't want to have to take that damn vaccine. So, as Vietnamese Americans, you guys are heroes. There are heroes in this room that I used to run.
I'm sorry, did you ask the
So the
question?
question is, I would like to hear from you, your answer ideologically about how you plan to fight the Democrat communists.
So I believe you spoke second last time, so you start now.
Thank you. First off, that was such a waste of our lives those few years that we'll never get back. I got sworn in April 1st, 2020, April Fool's Day, 2020. And then right after that, they shut down the whole entire government. So you want to talk about experience running government during COVID. I've only experienced government running during COVID, right? So one of the things I will pledge to you this, is I will never, ever let government, I will never vote for government interfere with your lives. Because government should serve only so many purposes. Make sure that we're safe, protect our rights, right? Provide resources that will get us to have better opportunities, and then get the hell out of our life. And let us do everything else, right? That's what government should be. So when you talk about the social, sorry, you said progressive. But I say progressive, borderline socialist, and then communist, right? So we have to seriously worry about that because we see it in European nations right now. We see it happening. And when I hear it happening over there and they come here and speak about it, I do have concerns here in America. And we have to continue to battle and fight that. And I will do everything in my being to make sure that we do not allow communists to take over America. But here, understand this, we are a strong nation, folks. We are Americans. We see it as Vietnamese Americans. My parents fled a country of communism. Still communist today, right? So we need to make sure we don't forget. Sadly, the youth of America today, though, is losing that concept because they experience only America, right? And they think America is all they've seen. And you're right. We need to educate our youth. That way, we can educate them to understand what our parents, our grandparents went through in Vietnam to come here. And that's what we also need to do to make sure that progressive thoughts aren't indoctrinated into our schools. And so we need to stop that as well. So we just, great question. That's what we need to focus on is our youth today. And when I look out there, there's some members from CPUSA, that have come to here to speak, and what an amazing group of kids, and what an amazing organization that's started by Charlie Kirk. And so that's something that we have to always focus on. That's how we will destroy communism, is if we allow our youth to learn what values, American values are compared to communist values. So thank you.
But I just want to say, I'm going to allow one last audience question, and then I'll give both of the candidates the opportunity to give a concluding statement.
Wow, I know communists firsthand as I escaped from the communist regime 5.5, and I witnessed it. But not only that, I witness it now as a city councilwoman. My mouth, my mic is shut. The very person who said, I call him the scream leader, he said, I have the privilege, you make a one-time exception, the mayor, to speak at April 30th, the fall of Saigon, Black April, this coming. And I go, heck no. My rights come from the voters who elected me to be in this seat, to be their voice, the 25,000 voters in my district. But for you, putting this agenda on to silence my voice, it is invalid and null. My rights come from the people, not you. I was not appointed by the mayor or the majority of the council. I am fighting for the people to speak, and I will continue to speak. My mic was cut at the Welcome Home Vietnam War veteran, but I still speak anyway. It doesn't matter, because that's my right to speak for my constituent and all Vietnam War veterans, to honor them and welcome them home that day. Now, with communism, my dad, ba đứng lên được không? My dad stand up. That's my dad. My dad was 16 when we enlisted at the age to 18 so he can fight to defend Vietnam. Because of his bravery, his courage, he ran toward the enemy. And now it's my turn to run toward the enemy who is stripping our rights away in America here. As every day, and when I get an opportunity, I go to Cerritos College, I go to Cal State Fullerton, I go to Cyprus to speak out and put a table to prove me wrong. And I did want to get their attention, so what I did is, ugly, stupid people want socialism. So I got their attention, they came to the table, and I go, prove me wrong. So which one are you? Are you stupid? Are you lazy? Are you ugly? Which one are you? So, they laugh, but I'm like, hey, did I get your attention? That's the reason why. So now let's dialogue. Let me hear your concern. And so I asked them, have any elected official come to your campus and speak with you and hear your concern? They say no. I go, I'm here because I want to hear your voice. You are the future of this nation, and we need you to know what you have. Your constitutional rights will be stripped away if you don't defend it, if you don't fight for it. Your voice will be stripped away. Whatever you want free everything? I understand why you want free everything, because it's easier, because your economic burden is so unbearable right now. Your college debt, to if you get hurt, the emergency room added to that debt even more. I understand your economic problem. That's why you guys came out in number with the help of Charlie Kirk to vote for President Donald J. Trump in 2024, because you were hoping that President Trump will fix your economic crisis, and he will. First, you need to stand for what's right, and you must defend it, and you must speak out, because you have a lot to lose. And they heard my voice, and I go, you know what? Your generation needs to vote, and you must speak out, or else someone else will speak for you. So that's what I do at college camp, because I see the need for us to reach the next generation, to inform them what it means when you lose all freedom. They want you to trade your security for your freedom. And like COVID, you're mentioning, that was the most horrible 4 years ever in our lives. And they did it because it's a trial run to see how far American will push against it. But we stand as a communist survivor. I understand that the strongest emotion is fear. Can you guys agree with that? Fear. When they push fear at you, it will cripple you. You will do anything, right? Because of fear. So that's what the government, our own government did, a trial run on us. Never again will we go down that route, and I will make sure to stand and defend you on that, and let me be the voice to defend you. Thank you. God bless you.
So I apologize. Earlier I said I did it a little early. I'm sure there's something that's dramatic that has happened in the news, but we'll just take a short intermission, maybe, and then just give people find out what happened, and then also then we'll give more questions. Is that okay for everyone?
I am very happy with that, yes.
All right, so
Let's make an intermission just 5 minutes or so, is that okay?
yeah, let's take an intermission. We'll come back and ask more questions. But there's some news that I think everyone needs to
tham dự có
Attention.
Yeah.
So, the news that BJ was talking about was tonight at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, there were shots fired. President Trump was okay, but he was rushed off stage, and the shooter is in custody. The unfortunate part is the shooter is a 31-year-old male suspect from Los Angeles, California. And according to sources on X, he also donated at least $25 to the Kamala Harris for President campaign.
So let's take a short break.
Well, there's plenty of food left, so please get some food.
Facebook có cái
Continue this.
YouTube có cái số 99, YouTube có cái số 22, YouTube có cái YouTube người Việt cái YouTube người Việt cái YouTube lấy được sòng cái YouTube lấy được sòng cái Facebook có cái số đây là anh hội trưởng hội phó hội trực thăm Việt Mỹ, anh Vũ Nguyễn gì chú, hội kiến chút xíu. Anh Vũ, hello anh hội phó hội trực thăm Việt Mỹ. Bữa nay là cuộc tranh luận của hội Cộng hòa, của đảng Cộng hòa. Đây anh coi tình hình nãy giờ thì anh cảm thấy ra sao với lại sự thiếu hai ứng cử viên anh Charlie Nguyễn Minh Trí và chú Thám Họa?
Đây là một cuộc tranh luận rất là hay theo tinh thần Mỹ, và đưa ra chúng ta thấy có hai ứng cử viên Dương Võ và Amy Van West đưa ra là những cái yêu cầu và giải quyết như thế nào để khi mà mình được đại diện có nhiều dân vào thì 45 đại diện cho California. Thì đây là một cái nó là một tinh thần của người Mỹ mà phải cho người dân họ biết mình có khả năng như thế nào, mình tranh luận như thế nào và mình phải đưa ra cho thuyết phục người dân. Nhưng mà đây rất là tiếc là hai ứng cử viên còn lại là ông Tôn Võ và ông Trần Lê Vị Trí đã không có mặt. Thì không biết là vì lý do gì, nhưng mà
thấy cái gì đó của anh tại sao vắng mặt?
Theo chúng tôi quan sát thì hai ứng cử viên Dương Thỏ và cô em Phan Quét quá về tiếng Anh, ngôn ngữ quá giỏi luôn, quá giỏi luôn, và khả năng tranh luận rất là học ráo nè. Và có thể là tuổi đời hoặc là kinh nghiệm thiếu hơn, nhưng mà nói về tranh luận á, và chúng tôi nghĩ chắc là ông Trần Lê Vị Trí và ông Tôn Võ không thể có khả năng tranh luận được như ông Trương Võ và cô em Phan Quét. Chúng tôi chắc chắn về điều đó.
Cảm nghĩ của anh là sao về bầu cử năm nay anh? Cộng hòa và Dân chủ, cảm nghĩ của anh, theo cảm nghĩ của anh là mình không có theo phe đảng nha, giống mình báo chí không? Thì cảm nghĩ của anh là sao ạ?
Hiện nay bây giờ là đảng Dân chủ là có Trần Tái và ứng cử vì đó, thì về phía Dân chủ thì chúng ta không có mặc kệ ông. Và đảng Cộng hòa thì có hiện giờ 4 ứng viên người gốc Việt, chỉ là việc chia phiếu, nhưng mà đó là chuyện bình thường thôi. Ai cũng có khả năng, thấy mình có khả năng ai cũng quyền ứng cử hết. Và cái quan trọng là mình thuyết phục được người dân và người ta bỏ phiếu cho mình, đó là nhiệm vụ của họ. Và trong cái buổi tranh luận ngày hôm nay đó là cơ hội các ứng viên mà chúng ta rất tiếc là ông Trần Lê Vị Trí và ông Tôn Võ lại hôm qua có mặt ngày hôm nay.
Anh cũng là bên phó chủ tịch của hội truyền thông Việt Mỹ nổi tiếng ở Nam Cali. Thì bây giờ nếu mà có lời khuyên nào với lại người nào mà thắng cử anh, nếu mình có lời khuyên, tại vì mình cái hội truyền thông Việt Mỹ cũng rất là nổi tiếng Nam Cali, anh cũng là phó hội trưởng và chủ kênh Vũ Nguyên Việt chú.
Chỉ cái là khi mà cái người dân biểu đại diện cho cái khu vực mình, ví dụ như địa hạt 45 sẽ là trong những khu vực Orange County rồi cả một trên khu vực LA, thì rất nhiều các chủng tộc khác nhau, Mỹ trắng, Mỹ đen, người da màu, Mỹ Tây cơ, hay là người Hàn Quốc, hay là người Nhật Bản thì chẳng hạn, và cả người Việt Nam, thì những người đại diện đó họ thể biết được người dân trong khu vực đó họ có những nhu cầu gì, họ đại diện và họ nói tiếng nói của người dân lên liên bang, và trong đó có cộng đồng người Việt nữa, vì những người này là những người chính trị gia gốc Việt mà họ có được lá phiếu nhiều người Việt, thì họ cũng có những trong một trong có những cái yêu cầu với nhu cầu gì đó, thì họ có thể đại diện cho người Việt để đưa ra những cái đề xuất. Chúng ta biết là dân biểu là đưa ra những cái yêu cầu của người dân ở khu vực mình đang sống để đề xuất ra đối với Hạ viện Hoa Kỳ.
Thưa anh, tại vì nó đang mở nhạc, em sao về bóng quyền có thấy là anh mời ra anh trước, em hỏi về cái này Việt Nam chút xíu đúng không? Tại anh mới nhân vật sống, anh mới về Việt Nam mới về. Tại vì bà con rất là nổi vì thôi. Họ truyền thông Việt Mỹ rất là nổi tiếng nha. Tất cả các cộng đồng Việt Nam Cali là Obama tới câu vời rất là đông anh em. Thì anh Minh Gia nãy có tới chút xíu, nhưng mà anh bị bận công chuyện khác, anh đi công việc khác rồi. Bà con tới cũng đông mà đa số người Mỹ tới rất là đông mà. Thì tình hình là tới cũng đãi ăn cũng nhiều đồ ăn, nhiều thứ lắm bà con. Đó. Thì chương trình tình hình là cũng rất là, đây là đo đảng Cộng hòa tổ chức đó bà con. Đó. Thì tóm lại là bây giờ đang break time rồi. Thì tại vì đang mở nhạc anh sao bị bóng quyền đó. Facebook Phố Cái Liuen Satobi và YouTube Phố Cái Liuen Satobi số 99, YouTube Phố Cái Liuen Satobi số 22, YouTube Phố Cái Liuen Satobi số 9, YouTube Lý Đô Sòn Cái Liuen Satobi, YouTube Người Việt Cái Liuen Satobi, YouTube Người Việt Cái Liuen Satobi số 9, Facebook Phố Cái Liuen Satobi. Đó là debate giữa tất cả những dân cử ở Nam Cali không bà con. Có anh Nguyễn Minh Chí, nhưng mà Nguyễn Minh Chí bữa nay là vắng mặt, và anh Thơm Võ cũng vắng mặt, bữa nay chỉ có Nghị viên ở Phan Quét và anh Trương Võ thôi. Thì chương trình là chắc khoảng chừng bây giờ break time mà con, chắc chút xíu sẽ quay trở lại của bà con ủng hộ. Rất là cảm ơn hết bà con đã ủng hộ chương trình bữa nay, cũng là truyền thông báo chí thấy cũng phải đông đông đó bà con. Đó. Thì nói tóm lại Facebook Phố Cái Liuen Satobi bà con, YouTube thì Lý Đô Sòn Cái Liuen Satobi, Lý Đô Sòn Cái Liuen Satobi 9, hay là Phố Cái Liuen Satobi số 99 bà con, Facebook Phố Cái Liuen Satobi. Thì đồ ăn bữa nay đãi ăn cũng rất nhiều món, đồ ăn uống đã rất là nhiều món, Ở đây là hội trường của Lavender bà con. Thì cũng rất cảm ơn bà con đã ủng hộ em. Facebook không có lưu sao TV bà con. Chương trình chút xíu sẽ bắt đầu tiếp đó bà con. Thì bây giờ nó mở nhạc em sợ bị bản quyền đó. Em xin ốp mic chút xíu bà con. Thì bây giờ em ra ngoài đây em có cái hội gặp anh Tony, cũng là nhân sĩ của công đồng ở Nam Cali bà con. Anh Tony ơi, bữa nay công đồng Việt Nam Nam Cali mình cũng có sự kiện đặc biệt mà tranh luận giữa các dân cử đó. Thì cảm nghĩ anh ra sao bữa nay, chương trình bữa nay tại sao vắng mặt hai dân cử kia? Anh tên gì, anh có quá khứ đã là gì ạ?
Trước tiên Tony vui hân hạnh được gặp anh
Jimmy. Dạ.
Ở chương trình Little Sài Gòn Cali TV.
Dạ, anh mời lên đây.
Với Cali Bonsai.
Là phố Cali Bonsai TV 99 ạ. Dạ mời anh ạ.
Rất hân hạnh được đến đây tham dự để thấy một cái cuộc tranh luận debate giữa 4 người mà ra tranh chức congressman của nước Mỹ, là gồm có ông Trương Võ, rồi cô Amy Powers, rồi ông Charlie Nguyễn Minh Chí và ông Tom Võ. Thì mình hy vọng là 4 người này sẽ xuất hiện để tranh luận cho đồng bào nghe. Tuy nhiên khi đến nơi đó thì mình hơi thất vọng vì chỉ thấy có ông Trương Võ và cô Amy Powers thôi. Ngoài ra ông Charlie Nguyễn Minh Chí lại không thấy xuất hiện, mà ngay tổ chức ngay tại thành phố Westminster là thủ phủ của ổng đó, thành phố mà ổng làm mấy mà ổng không đến tham dự là cả một sự thiếu sót nha. Một người thị trưởng mà không xuất hiện để nêu trả lời những câu hỏi cho đồng bào nghe thì đó thôi là thiếu sót. Còn ông Tom Võ thì có thể ông ở xa, ông không đến được hay là ông bị bận gì đó thì mình cũng thông cảm. Tuy nhiên mình nghĩ rằng là ông Charlie Nguyễn Minh Chí nên xuất hiện để trả lời những câu hỏi mà người ta quan tâm đến những vấn đề của liên bang. Tôi nghĩ rằng là có thể ông hơi yếu kém về phương diện Anh ngữ, không thể tranh luận nên ông tìm cách rút lui trong danh dự.
Thưa Tony, bữa nay ngày rất là quan trọng, thấy Mỹ tới quá trời luôn. Bữa nay rất là bận rộn, dù có bận rộn cỡ nào mình cũng phải tới đây đặng tiếp người dân cho anh.
Dạ đúng vậy, thì mình nghĩ đây là cơ hội tốt để ông chứng tỏ cho người Mỹ cũng như người Việt mình thấy mình là một con người có khả năng đối ứng với vấn đề, có khả năng trả lời những vấn đề và bằng tiếng Mỹ để cho người Mỹ biết. Thì ông đã đánh mất cái cơ hội này. Tôi thấy ông Trương Võ, ông trả lời rất là chững chạc, vững vàng những cái vấn đề liên quan đến vấn đề an sinh của nước Mỹ, cũng như vấn đề mà ngay cả vấn đề mà chiến tranh Iran thì tôi cũng thấy ông trả lời tốt. Và cô Amy cũng trả lời tương đối cũng khá. Đây thì hai người này cho thấy là họ có đủ cái khả năng để ứng biến và đối diện với sự thật để trả lời với quần chúng.
Bây giờ nó tóm lại không biết ai thắng hay thua. Bây giờ anh có lời khuyên nào người nào thắng nào?
Với 4 người đó đi lên một trận chiến trên võ đài 4 người mà tự nhiên 2 người
không một thôi
xuất hiện thì là giống như là mình tự lấy cái phiếu thua rồi. Thì còn 2 người thì 2 người này tương đối cũng ngang ngửa nha.
90 ha.
90.
9 với 10.
Thấy ông Trương Võ có vẻ như là chững chạc hơn và nhất là ổng đã từng là cảnh sát nha, và ổng làm tới 20 năm trong cảnh sát,
Dạ.
từng là mayor của Cerritos, thì ổng ứng biến được mọi việc, thì hy vọng rằng là ổng sẽ là người mà có thể đánh bại ông Derek Trần, và cơ hội để mà người Cộng hòa của chúng ta lấy được cái ghế của dân biểu địa hạt 45 thì là Trương Võ. Cho thấy đồng bào nhìn vấn đề cho rõ ràng, thì chọn người cho rõ ràng để mình đỡ phải mất cái lá phiếu của chúng ta, để chọn cho người Cộng hòa, làm cho thành phố đất nước này hùng mạnh trở lại.
Bây giờ Cộng hòa Dân Chủ thắng không thành vấn đề, nhưng mà anh là nhân sĩ cộng đồng nổi tiếng ở thành phố Winter nè. Bây giờ anh có lời nhắn nào tới cái người sẽ nhậm chức cái liên bang 45 tới nè?
Dạ.
Lời khuyên của anh là gì?
Thì trước tiên cái chữ nhân sĩ tôi không dám nhận, nhưng mà nếu
nhân vật nổi tiếng đi.
Nhân vật nổi tiếng không dám nhận. Nhưng mà nhân sĩ nghĩa là những người có học thức và có nhìn được vấn đề, có cách đức nhân đó, tính nhân bản đó, thì mới gọi là nhân sĩ. Đấy, thì mình cố gắng đạt đến trình độ đó. Rồi đối với lại 4 người này đó thì không chọn ra một người.
Không, ý là nói bây giờ anh gửi lời nhắn tới người nào thắng chức dân biểu 45, anh sẽ nhắn gì lời gì? Cộng hòa Dân Chủ không thành vấn đề.
Đúng vậy. Chức dân biểu 45 đó là đại diện cho một địa hạt rất lớn ở Orange County này nhá. Thì quý vị nào mà thắng chức này, quý vị phải đặt gọi là quyền lợi của người dân trên quyền lợi của riêng tư của quý vị. Tức là không có dính líu vào vấn đề tham nhũng, hối lộ, hay là tham mại quyền thế, hay là gia đình trị. Thì quý vị mà dính vào những vấn đề đó thì thành phố cũng như địa hạt của quý vị sẽ xuống cấp, và quý vị sẽ mang danh là một người hèn, không làm đáp ứng được cái nguyện vọng của người dân của chúng ta. Do đó hãy cố gắng lên quý vị nha, cố gắng lấy được lá phiếu của người dân, và đồng thời phải cố gắng làm việc hết mình. Tại sao vậy? Tại khi lên đến chức vụ liên bang đó, anh biết không? Trời ơi, rất nhiều những người Mỹ mà chính thức họ sẽ bu lại, họ hỏi mình và mình ấp a ấp úng không trả lời được, thì nó nói những câu tiếng lái tiếng lóng mà mình không trả lời được, thì nhục mặt cho người nào ra tranh cử lắm. Ví dụ nó hỏi mày có muốn đem đạo luật Sharia đến không, mà mình không hiểu đạo luật Sharia là gì, mình nói yes yes yes, tức là mình đã tự hạ thấp cái khả năng hiểu biết của mình đó.
Xin anh cho em hỏi 3 câu ngoài đề tài.
Rồi,
anh cảm nghĩ sao về cái tin mới anh Hùng Cao nè?
Ngay 2 ngày 3 ngày trước ông Hùng Cao đã được tổng thống như là ông bộ trưởng bộ Luan, tức là bộ chiến tranh, đề cử ông thay thế cho ông Liien. Thì đây là một niềm hãnh diện cho người cộng đồng Việt Nam của chúng ta, vì ông Hùng Cao tương đối là có cái khả năng về quân sự nha, trong khi ông Liien là một người dân sự mà vì đã thời gian đóng góp nhiều trong Trump nên được đưa lên chức đó. Tuy nhiên với tình hình của đất nước Hoa Kỳ hiện tại thì một người quân sự tương đối là thích hợp trong vấn đề giải quyết cái chiến tranh tại Iran. Tại sao phải giải quyết chiến tranh Iran? Vì chúng ta thấy Iran là một đất nước mà nó muốn có vũ khí nguyên tử để đe dọa những vùng những đất nước khác xung quanh, và Mỹ phải nhúng tay vào để an bình cái khu vực đó, và nhất là tạo ra một cái con đường mà huyết mạch của toàn thế giới được thông thương về dầu hỏa đi qua dễ dàng, không phải trả tiền mãi lộ cho Iran. Thì đó là ông Trump đã làm tốt trong nhiệm vụ bình thường hóa cái con đường Hormuz này, và hy vọng là chiến này sẽ mang lại thắng lợi cho không những cho đất nước Hoa Kỳ mà cho toàn thế giới, và có được cái sự an bình về sự lưu lượng dầu được thông thoáng nơi con đường Hormuz.
Anh sẽ nói với là anh Hùng Cao điều gì phong người dân của Little Sài Gòn Busan. Bà tiếng Việt, tiếng Anh đi. Tiếng Anh đi.
I hereby would like to talk to Mr. Hùng Cao. We are proud that you are representing us to be a top leaders in the Navy. And we hope that you carry on your responsibility to take care of the problems that the United States has now in Iran war, and also stand high to against the communists of the Asia, especially the Chinese communists, which also always want to dominate the Southeast Asia. Mr. Hùng Cao, please keep on with the good work for the people of Vietnam, of the United States, and also of the freedom of Vietnam.
Câu thứ hai cho xin phép xin hỏi anh là tại vì em nghe gì mà ví dụ mà orbit đó anh, mà nghe nói thành phố cho nó nói chị Amy nói mic lại lần nữa này kia nọ, thì anh có biết cái vụ đó là gì không anh?
Cái vụ đó là vụ cắt micro của sự phát biểu của cô Amy Phan West trong cái 2 tuần trước ở tại ngay tượng đài chiến sĩ tự do Việt Mỹ đấy,
lễ vinh danh cựu chiến binh
thì có buổi lễ cựu chiến binh vinh danh gọi là appreciate những người cựu chiến binh, là tri ân những người cựu chiến binh Hoa Kỳ. Thì cô Amy Phan West trong lúc mà lên phát biểu đó thì tự nhiên bị cắt microphone. Thì tôi thấy đây là một điều làm rất là tệ của thành phố Westminster, và đại diện là ông Charlie Nguyễn Mạnh Chí đã lợi dụng cái quyền gọi là cắt microphone, cấm khẩu cô Amy Phan West nói chuyện trước công chúng. Đây là một điều thất sách nha ông Charlie Nguyễn Mạnh Chí, ông làm một điều rất là thất sách, nghĩa là cho dù ông ta có cô Amy Phan West có làm những điều gì mà không hài lòng của ông trong buổi họp thì các ông phải đóng cửa dạy bảo lẫn nhau. Còn riêng ra đến công chúng thì khi một người phát biểu những cảm tưởng tri ân những người lính Hoa Kỳ đã chiến đấu tại Việt Nam thì ông phải tôn trọng những ý kiến của cô Amy Phan West và không nên cắt microphone của người ta, và nhất là phải mở rộng bình đẳng cho tất cả mọi người nhé. Đấy là cái tính gọi là bình đẳng và phục vụ trong tinh thần trách nhiệm cho mọi người.
Sao nghe nói là có cái dự luật là cấm không được nói luôn anh? Đúng không anh?
Như vậy hả? Dường như là
mà nghe nói là 30 tháng 4 này cho chị Amy Phan West phát biểu một lần một thôi. Anh cảm nghĩ sao về điều này?
Cái điều này lại là đi vào con đường bế tắc cho thành phố ông Charlie Nguyễn Mạnh Chí ơi. Nếu mà ông tiếp tục làm như vậy đó thì thành phố của chúng ta sẽ bị kiện, và khi kiện đó thì thành phố sẽ phải bỏ tiền để đáp ứng lại những lời kiện đó. Thành ra ông làm như vậy là tự động khiến cho thành phố của chúng tôi bị dính vào những vụ kiện và phải trả tiền cho những vụ kiện này. Nên tôi yêu cầu ông đừng tiếp tục làm những cái chuyện mà vô bổ như vậy nữa. Phải mở rộng tầm nhìn, phải tôn trọng ý kiến của tất cả mọi người, và đồng thời phải có những cái sinh hoạt mà rộng rãi, không nên dùng cái áp lực của gia đình trị. Tại vì sao tôi nói chữ gia đình trị? Tại vì ngay trong thành phố của chúng ta có 5 người nghị viên mà ông là một, và người em rể của ông đóng một vai trò nghị viên. Mỗi lần ông đưa một quyết định gì thì ông chỉ cần đã có 2 lá phiếu, ông chỉ cần đưa thêm ông Carlos Menzo vô lấy 1 lá phiếu là ông đã lấy được cái quyết định để bịt miệng, bịt sự phát biểu của người khác, thì điều đó không nên làm nhé. Tôi tuyên bố là chúng ta đang đi vào con đường bế tắc đó ông Charlie Nguyễn Mạnh Chí.
Thứ tư này, thứ tư tuần rồi đó em có họp, em thấy có dự buổi họp, em thấy cũng Amy Phan West cũng bị ốm mic nữa. Gây qua gây lại thì Amy Phan West cũng vẫn bị anh Chí ốm mic nữa. Thì anh nghĩ chị Amy Phan West mình có nên đổi tên là Amy Phan West bị cúp mic không anh?
Thì nếu mà làm quá nhiều lần đó thì người ta sẽ nói là ông thành ông mayor của mình là ông mayor chuyên môn bịt miệng bịt mồm người khác. Thành ra không nên nhá. Tôi khuyên ông Charlie Nguyễn Mạnh Chí không nên làm những chuyện như vậy. Nhất là trước đây ông cũng đã từng gọi là nói cái câu mà tôi nghe rõ ràng: I am a piece of shit.
Nghĩa là sao?
But I am your mayor.
Ờ.
Đó, một người cư dân người Mỹ đó, ông lên là trình bày vấn đề mà ông nổi nóng, ông đã nói lên là I am a piece of shit, tức là tao nè là cục phân nè,
Dạ.
nhưng tao là thị trưởng của tụi bay, but I am your mayor.
Dạ.
Nói một câu rất là sắc sược và ngu xuẩn, tôi dùng chữ như vậy. Đó, đồng bào không tin thì lên thành phố vào hồi tháng 10 năm 2025 để xem những video còn lưu dấu lại nhá, nghe cho rõ cái sự gọi là tức giận của một ông thị trưởng mà đáp ứng với lời cư dân Westminster như vậy là không nên làm như vậy.
Anh ơi,
I am a piece of shit,
dạ,
but I am your mayor.
cái đó cũng hơi nặng ha.
Hơi nặng chứ.
Dạ. Anh ơi, nhưng mà bây giờ thành phố Westminster mà ảnh gần hết chức thị trưởng rồi, bây giờ chị Kimberly Hồ với anh Carlos đang giờ chuẩn bị ứng cử viên chức thị trưởng thì anh nghĩ gì sao về chức vụ này?
Dạ, thì tôi nghĩ là ông Charlie sắp sửa ra tranh cử chức nghị viên dân biểu liên bang.
Dạ.
Và nếu mà ông tiếp tục lên á, thì tốt. Còn ông không lên á, thì ông sẽ trở về, ông tranh lại cái chức mayor. Thế nha, thành phố của chúng ta sẽ trở nên một cái piece of shit nữa.
Dạ.
Không nên làm như vậy.
Dạ.
Dạ, tôi tin tưởng là ông Charlie nên lưu tâm, trước tiên là nên xin lỗi dân chúng Westminster là tôi đã phát biểu sai lệch, tôi không phải là piece of shit.
Đúng rồi, câu nặng quá, kỳ quá.
Câu nặng quá, tự ví mình như là một cục phân vậy.
Mà chứ cộng đồng nó kỳ quá.
Đó, nếu ông tin nói là thành phố không có chuyện đó xảy ra thì xin ông đứng chánh lại và đưa những cái bằng chứng là không có chuyện đó xảy ra.
Bây giờ hai ứng cử thị trưởng chị Kimberly Hồ và ông Carlos anh tính sao?
Thì hiện tại đó thì chúng ta sẽ thấy có bà Kim Ly Hồ ra tranh cử, rồi nghe tin là ông Carlos Menzo cũng sẽ ra, rồi có thể là ông Mạc Nguyễn sẽ ra.
Dạ,
Và nếu Mạc Nguyễn là thắng á, thì nó sẽ đi vào cái tình trạng như thế này là Mạc Nguyễn còn dư cái ghế 2 năm thì Mạc Nguyễn sẽ sử dụng cái quyền đề cử ông Charlie vào vị trí đó. Thành thử ra tức là một sự gọi chuyên quyền, độc tài và chuyên chế và gia đình trị. Do đó chúng ta phải tìm cách ngăn ngừa cái sự gia đình trị trong thành phố Westminster nha quý vị.
Anh Tony ơi, ngày mai như anh có chương trình gì đặc biệt thôi, anh đi có nãy là chia sẻ chút ít đồ anh đi.
Đúng vậy, đây là cái chương trình mà một số người tổ chức là thư mời tham dự buổi chiếu phim 30 tháng 4. Thì đây là nói về gương thành công của người Việt gốc Mỹ người Mỹ gốc Việt tại Hoa Kỳ này. Trong đó sẽ trình chiếu 7 vị tướng lãnh cao cấp người Mỹ gốc Việt trong quân đội Hoa Kỳ, rồi vai trò quan trọng của 3 người trong chính quyền Donald Trump, rồi chiếu cái phim người Mỹ gốc Việt Eugene Trịnh là người phi hành gia đầu tiên bay vào vũ trụ, rồi cái kế tiếp là nữ khoa học gia Dương Nguyệt Ánh là một gọi là bomb lady đó, người có góp phần vào việc chế bom áp nhiệt, bom xuyên thấu vào đất đai đó, đất cứng đó. Và phần cuối cùng là nữ CEO, một nữ người giám đốc người Mỹ góp phần đóng tàu hạt nhân của Hoa Kỳ nhé.
Khá hấp dẫn anh. Mấy giờ ở đâu vậy anh?
Ngay tại Lavender này.
Ở đây luôn, Lavender luôn.
Lúc 2 giờ chiều.
2 giờ chiều.
Quý vị đến đây ngồi trong không khí thoải mái, cùng nhau xem cái màn ảnh lớn về những cái chương trình mà nói về gương thành công của người Mỹ gốc Việt của chúng ta.
Đường số 13 bà con. Có mua vé này kia không nọ anh? Có hay sao anh?
Cái này là hoàn toàn miễn phí nha. Chương trình này hoàn toàn miễn phí để và có phần ăn trưa, bánh mì đậu phộng, nước lọc đến quý vị đến đây ngồi xem phim thoải mái lắm quý vị ơi.
Ai mà suy nghĩ được cái chương trình này vậy anh?
Trời ơi, tất cả những người thí dụ như có bà Kim Ly Hồ nè, bà cũng góp phần của đó. Ông Ngô Văn Huy, ông Trùng Dương của Hội Hậu vệ Quân lực Việt Nam Cộng Hòa, rồi ông Phan Thanh Liêm, hội trưởng Hội Hậu vệ Thiếu Sinh Quân, và tôi là Tony Bùi cũng góp phần vào trong đó với cái chương trình của cái nhóm tôi gọi là MAGA, tức là Make All American City Great Again. vai trò là chúng ta có nhiệm vụ làm cho thành vững mạnh lên, song song với sự vững mạnh của đất nước Hoa Kỳ này. Đây, thành ra mời quý vị 2 giờ trưa nha, 2 giờ trưa Chủ nhật ngày mai ghé đến đây tham dự buổi ngồi xem video clip rồi đồng thời nói chuyện gặp gỡ nhiều người vui vẻ với nhau.
Em cảm ơn Thanh Niên, giờ chúc em mạnh khỏe. Mến chào. Tại vì chương trình bây giờ đang chuẩn bị đang tiếp tục bên trong mà con. Em phải trong mà con.
Dạ thưa anh, đúng rồi, ngày mai nhé.
Serving people, right? Well, I'll tell you, if you know me and you look at my business card, my cell phone's on there, and one of the things that I'm proud of is that you always have a chance to reach me. And the interest of people, the best interest of people, to me, are the exact same thing. They're the people of our residents and our community. The best interest of people is going to be those that really truly represent what's needed in the community. And so, I'm very accessible. I'm going to be the one that makes sure that I will be there for those folks. And I don't want to separate the two because maybe I don't understand your question too well. But at the end of the day, the interest of folks and the best interest of folks to me are people in general, right? I'm misunderstanding your question.
Just so we're clear.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, when you talk about business card, I have my palm cards. Maybe the public can have it too. So the numbers here. So when you talk about accessible, I have it too. But it's different between the interest of the people and the best interest. The best interest is completely different than the interest of the people. Because the best means that I will humble myself and sacrifice my special interest, and it needs me for the sake of the people and the well-being of this nation. Sometimes there will be hard decisions to make, like on the council, but we have to do what's best for the people that we represent, that elected us to be there. And best interest is not about you. It's about this nation. It's about the people. That's what the best interest is.
I would like you to clarify this. Well, I would like to get to clarify because I don't want to. Yeah.
Okay, basically, the best interest of the people and the interest of the people are miles apart. It's basically the difference between a republic and a democracy. Okay, democracy is what? 50 plus 1. So if 50 plus 1% of the people want you to go down a particular path, and you know that to be wrong, then that's not representing the best interest. Okay?
Well, thank you for clarifying that, and I will answer that question. So I'll tell you, when I served on the council, I've never put my interests in front at all, and I think those who are from Cerritos will recognize that. Sometimes at my detriment, right? Sometimes we vote for things that I know would not go in line with what I believe, but at the same time, I believe what the folks that are out there in the best interest is, and that's just the way it is, right? And if we're representing the folks out there, we got to represent them and the way they want us to represent them. And the majority 50 plus 1, I get that. I get that. And we were out here to always go with majority plus 1. That's Marxism. That's Marxism right there, right? So we definitely have to vote with that. That's city council as well.
Yeah. We're not a democracy, we're a constitutional republic. So can I rebuttal that? Okay. Basically, are you finished, Chung?
So my record is very clear. I'm going to serve the people of my city when I was there. I'm going to serve the people in the district when I'm there. When it comes down to representing a small group of people versus the majority, I'm going to represent those that I believe to be in the best interest of the community. It's going to be the best interest of the community. Yes. What you're talking about. I'm sorry. Yeah, we're having a debate against each other.
Okay, so I want to rebuttal that. To be honest with you, all of us understand the two-party system. The two-party system. We all know that. They're all the same. The establishment, both sides. The establishment on both sides are the same, the elite. We've seen that. They've done nothing for us, but hurt us on the backbone of we the people. And I'm sick and tired of it. I have no special interest in donating to my campaign. No one pushed me to this. Now this is the thing. I was told, Chung, finish his term, And he went home and you told the people on your council that you're going home to spend more time with your family and your kids to take care of them. And then about a few months later, you got asked to run after I filed. And the special interests in South County wanted to take over the 45th. They don't know anything about the 45th. They should not have a hand, special interest in the 45th. We, the people, have the interest. You saw how much I got attacked. You know what's the easiest thing to do is leave the council and just go home, and that would be the easiest step. But no, I promised my constituent that you voted and elected me to stand here and fight, and I will continue to fight, even though my mic got cut or whatever. I got sanctioned, censure, all of it, and removed from all committees. But I still fight until the end, and that's what we need. We need fighters. Not only that, this nation, politician cannot save us, president cannot save us. It's we the people. We need godly people. We need godly people to turn this nation back. We need to come back to God, and that's who will save this nation. Without God, we're done. Like the Romans, look at them. Look at all the history we've seen. Back to God for such a time as this. God has called us. God has given us a break as a nation to repent and do what's right for the people.
Thank you. Thank you. So, since you brought it up, I did wanted to retire from my police department, and also I didn't want to be a career politician because I made the promises I was going to do what I did on council the term that I served, and once I did that, I did say, hey, I promise I'm going to get things done, and we got it done. And so give someone else an opportunity to do it. And yes, I did want to retire, to spend time with my family. I didn't realize we're bringing up family here, but I love my family, and I love the fact that and yes, you know what? When we have to fight for our party to make sure that we actually can beat Derek Trent, yes, I did get a phone call. And yes, because the only person that can beat Derek Trent is me. You're looking at it. All right? It's not about the establishment. It's about who truly can compete with the incumbent. And I'll tell you, since you really didn't go into it, the Little Saigon community is great. They're conservative, and Amy brought it up. Derek Trent beat Michelle Still by 653 votes, right? That voting system, part of that came from the Little Saigon community, but also, don't forget, there was 3 cities in LA County that normally vote blue. Cerritos, Artesia, and Hawaiian Gardens. Now, I would argue the swing vote is not just in Little Saigon. There is lots of votes in LA County as well that changed the outcome of the last election. And of course, other things, I would say fraud and cheating and stuff, but anyways, at the end of the day, the only person that can beat Derek Trent is that Amy is right. The Little Saigon community, conservative, they have a Republican Vietnamese to vote for now. They can choose 1 to 4. But the only person that can get votes in from the LA County side is the former mayor and council member of Cerritos. And the Cerritos, so yes, they wanted to beat Derek Tran. And so therefore, when I ran in 2020, I got over 5,300 votes. That's more than the 653 that Derek beat Michelle by. So yeah, and I came out. I don't understand why people make it such a bad thing that he was retired. I came out of retirement. I gave up my great retirement life to put back into service for this country, for the District of 45. And that's why I am running. And that's why they asked me, because we need to beat Derek Tran. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we have to understand, we'll get being so patient. Really appreciate that. Now, the thing is that in this district, when you first came out with the press release, you were so proud of being a moderate. And Derek Tran is a moderate Democrat. So you're no different. Think about this in the 45th district. A Vietnamese Democrat, Derek Tran, in the general with a Republican Vietnamese, either one of them, right? Would the people in the 45th district trade a moderate for a moderate? No. Would they trade a Democrat, Derek Tran, for a female, courageous woman? Yes, that's likely. Because for me, how I know that is because even when I go to Vaughn's, when I talk to Democrat women, they say, because you're a woman, I'll vote for you. I'll give you a chance. Because the thing is that we have to know the layout. I'm not being sexist, because the thing is that I know someone just mentioned that. As a Republican, as a conservative, but not only that, I believe that we need good people who will fight and who would not just quit. Because the thing is that, Trump, there's people on the ground who have asked you to help when in certain events, but you did not come and help them. But for me, people who know me on the ground here, let me give you an example, quick. There was a lady in the district here, I'll be brief. She lives in a mobile home, and she said that this guy was homeless. She allowed him to live in her mobile home because she felt sorry for him. Then he didn't pay her $500, and then he threatened her, if you talk bad about me, I will beat you up. And so then I give her the law enforcement number to contact. She filed a report, and they were able to kick him out. That is action, because that's adult abuse, right? Adult abuse. We don't deal with that, and we cannot stand by that. Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay. Well, thank you. Again, your information is incorrect. Just like the last time we spoke, you said my consultant was out of Texas. That's not true. I never release a, hold on. That's my time talk. Oh, I never release a press release that said I was a moderate. And what you're referring to is media blasts out there with my press release that they write whatever they want to write. My press release never even indicated I was a moderate Republican. Now, I just want to clear things up. Two, last I checked, we were not part of DEI. So it shouldn't matter if we were that's a candidate that does the job. And when we start throwing that out, we want to talk about moderate. We are not the DEI party.
You have to look at the numbers here. California, remember that. We're not Texas.
I'm really sorry for one of you guys. I think I want to give our audience members the opportunity to ask questions. Please ask your question. I apologize for the delay.
Okay. So Amy brought up the point of sales tax and bringing sales tax revenue into the city. My question is, what have you done as a city council that you're making sure the city is collecting the sales tax, the correct sales tax that the city is supposed to collect? Because you mentioned people doing cash-only businesses, and so I want Amy to answer first, and then I would like June to answer also.
Okay. So for our city, as you know, there's a lot of cash businesses, and it's been there forever, even before my time when I got on. So that's what I was informed on. Now it's hard to get an auditor in the state of California to come to take care of acquisition since it's been embedded for so long. Now with the small business owner that we, as you know, we have small business event coming up to incentivize businesses to thrive. We will give them technology and resources, even the funding that's coming to small business. We just give each business that apply $250, $2,500 each businesses. We just award them because that helps them to get started with technology marketing. And then we're gonna get more coming in to help them. And that's what we're doing, to make sure they are able to do their job and to market. And that's why we have that funding coming to the city and that grant to help the small businesses. Because with the small business, we're doing taking cash, we cannot even have the state of California come to audit. That's the issue we have right now in the city of Westminster with 100,000 population. But we can go around that. That's why we got a grant from the Fed to help us giving them that check to help the small business to market. That's what we're doing right now. And then we're going to have a workshop coming up right now. This month. To help the business, we're going to have different programs and technology for small businesses.
We're out of time. I just want to give Chung the opportunity to address the question.
Thank you. You know, in City Cerritos, I know nothing about cash business because it's not allowed. If we didn't know about it, guess what we would do? We would enforce it and make sure that doesn't happen in City Cerritos. You know, if you want to talk about special interests, if there's businesses in this city, in any city, it doesn't file taxes, and it hurts the city because the city's not receiving the revenue that's needed and necessary, and then that city then goes around and then raises taxes to tell the folks to increase tax and pay more. In the meantime, when you know there's local businesses that may be violating IRS laws and the money is not getting back to the city, that itself is wrong. Okay? If I was ever made aware of that when I was on council, I would make sure that IRS would be going to Congress. This is the one thing about fraud and wasteful spending is something we will look at, right? And it doesn't matter what city you're in. If you're in the 45th district, Chumbo is coming.
Do you have another question?
Yeah, can you give me the, what you do exactly? Because
Absolutely.
We'll give you guys 45 seconds.
So I'll give you an example. The Auto Square is one of the biggest sales tax revenue, right? When people buy cars, we get money, right? GST, which is the biggest government entity technology in the country, they're located in Cerritos. We make sure that we accommodate their needs, but at the same time, we also collect the sales revenue that comes out of it, right? One of the things I work closely with is the Auto Square there, and I'm very proud to say that they're my friends, because without them and without the mall in Cerritos, and we have a thriving mall, by the way, in Cerritos, and we don't have to knock down our mall because that mall brings in so much revenue. You know what hurts cities is when you knock down businesses and then put in housing, and that's where the sales revenue is lost, right? There's got to be a balance, right? And if the location there is a mall, we got to do everything we can to preserve that sales revenue so that way every resident can benefit from it. And so I work closely with the mall, the Auto Square, GST, and we brought in and recruited business into our city to allow for the sales revenue. And so I'm a business-friendly guy. So thank you.
Okay? Most of our tax come from Lexus dealership, Honda, Toyota, and they bring in the most income taxes into the city. The next thing is hotels that we have in the city of Westminster, and that is the second bracket of tax that comes into the city of Westminster. So right now we have a surplus of 45 million. Okay, under our new leadership.
Can I respond to that real quick? Earlier, it was mentioned that the city's double the size, right? Then the sales rev or the reserve should at least be double the size of Cerritos. But we have, when I left, over $100 million in reserve. Yeah. So for a city that's half the size, we have double the revenue in reserve. So that's the business-friendly approach that we need to have, and that's what we do in Cerritos. Well, that's what I did when I was there.
So, if we could give you an opportunity to respond.
I guess my question is, what's the budget right now, do you know?
Well, you know, the budget, well, right now.
The reserve.
The reserve?
Yeah, what's the reserve right now? Because you left.
Yeah.
It's 100.
And so, you know,
So
I'm
listen
glad-
to Irvine. Oh, can I finish? So with Irvine, they're in a deficit right now. They have a tons of reserve, but because of waste management.
You're
So the
absolutely
city
right.
council, I don't know if you are updated on your city.
You're absolutely
right.
Because I know the mayor there, he's
Yeah.
struggling with that.
You're absolutely right, Amy. I'm glad you brought up the mayor, because the mayor is a Democrat. And like I said, when I stepped down, the Democrats took over, and you're right. Now they're talking about raising fees and taxes, and you're absolutely right. The reserve, the general fund that we had has depleted. It's because I'm not there.
I'm allowing the candidates to rebut, but just in the interest of time, I'm trying to keep the time under 90 seconds for each answer. Please go ahead. So I want to give everyone the opportunity to ask a question.
Okay, this is kind of like broadening. We're in Congress. You're not just talking about community things, you're talking about bigger issues, huge issues, and some that as a rule we have to study to even know what they're all about, and there's different sides to it. Right now, AI, which is wonderful on many levels, is supposed to really hurt the job market. It will change the whole scope of things, and we're just on the edge of that. I would just like to know what each of you know and how you feel about how AI will affect the future and how prepared you are to actually deal with the problems that could be projected from that.
So I'm not actually sure who spoke first last time, but I'll start with Amy just randomly.
Thank you. AI technology, we all know it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. So either we learn and inform on it, or we'll be left behind. A lot of business, they're using AI right now to technology to market for them, meaning they have to pay less overhead. That's a good thing. We want that. And they can speed up with their technology to market, but to get the paperwork, filing everything, it's much easier. So the best thing is the younger generation, Gen Z, they're still on top of AI. So they would not be out of the market. It might be good for them, actually. They'll speedize things, market, everything will be faster. But the thing is that hometown technology will always, we all know that. Look at 100 years ago, they're on wagons, right? And I bet you people back then were saying the same thing. But look, we still here. Because we accommodate, we get used to what's happening, and we just make it happen. And I think that's what it is that you capitalize on AI technology and then work it and let it work for you and make it better for you, your businesses. And that's what we have to do.
Thank you. You know why AI is so prolific and is taking over? Because when you have a state and a party that continues to raise taxes, continue to raise fees, and continue to require minimum wage to go up without the market fighting for itself, what happens is this: AI takes over because, say, for example, McDonald's. When the state of California raised the minimum wage up for people who work at fast food joints, right? What do? They invest in AI now. So what we lost is customer service. At the congressional level, what we need to do is make sure that AI, one, doesn't take over our life, it just supports our life, right? And the second thing is this: when we continue to increase fees, increase taxes, businesses will continue to find avenues to replace human beings. So we need to make sure that our businesses bring back customer service, bring back employment for our kids that graduate from college. My son's graduating this year. I am concerned with AI that he may not find a job. Because why? Employers are forced to look at AI to save money because of all the ridiculous fees and taxes that the state of California on our state. So thank you.
Good evening, Tony Bowie of Westminster. I came here and I expect to see full of people. However, I saw only 2 people here. I'm really frustrated. And I question to you, did you send a letter to those people who was not here? Officially invite them.
As a neutral moderator, I try to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to speak here. All 4 people on stage were invited, they were encouraged to come, and they were assured that as much as possible, they're treated with fairness and given the opportunity to speak. So I do want to make it clear that we made a point for all of the 4 candidates to invite them and make it clear that they were welcome, to make it clear that we would treat them as fairly as possible and give them the opportunity to address the voters of this district in a fair, balanced way without any favoritism, treating them the way that they felt that they were.
I'm a resident of Westminster, and I'm frustrated that my mayor did not show up here to answer my question to him. So I convey my really sorry not to see Mr. Charlie here. And secondly, in the last election, David Trump, he won the election because of the election days, not only one day, but 28 days. Have you ever seen any election days that would last for 28 days?
Are you asking us or us again?
So I do want to give both the candidates the opportunity to vote on us, the candidates who are not here, and also to address the question asked. So I guess, who did I go start? You started.
Okay, I mean, you know, I was asked this earlier. I can't answer for the other two why they're not here, but you see they're not here. Also, I mean, I got the invite, I'm sure, Amy, you did too. That's why we're here. And we agreed to do this early on, without any change of plan. You know, so I'm here because you folks expect me here, and because I'm not scared to answer questions. I'm here to make sure that you know who to vote for. If you like me, great. If you like Amy, great. That's what democracy is about, right? If you vote for whoever you decide that you want. Unfortunately, we can't make that decision for the other two because they didn't show up today for whatever reason. So you're going to have to ask them. They'll have to answer to the public for that. Okay? And the 28K election, we only have one day of election here in California and in America. Unfortunately, with the system, election process the way it is, and we're hoping to change that everything happens on the day of election. But you're right, a lot can happen in a 28-day process, right? And a lot did happen. Michelle was leading by over 10,000 votes election day, and at the end of the 28th day, she lost by 653 votes. And then later on, there was discussions that there were some ballots that were found that were not counted. I don't know, because I wasn't there, but I'll tell you this. The election should be expected to be on a certain date. Results should be expected by a certain date, and we should drag it on over.
Of course, we cannot speak for the two candidates because we're not them. So I'm not going to assume or speculate because that would not be fair. So I can only speak for myself. We're here, like Trump said, so we're here to answer any tough question, bring it all on. And then because transparency is very important, and that's what I've been fighting for as a councilwoman in Westminster. Now for election, of course, we have only one day, June 2nd is the election day. But as you know, Trump, wanted the Senate to pass the voter integrity and everything else, but they're delaying. So the thing is that when you elected people who value voter integrity, checking your ID, voting one day, that's how it's supposed to be. I remember when I was 18, I was voting on the day of election, and everything was counted on that day. I do remember it. So they changed that. So we need to change it back to what makes sense and preserve the integrity of our votes. And that's how we're going to do it. Thank you.
My question is based on what was said a little bit earlier about housing. Okay, I'm a 40-plus year veteran of the real estate industry and development, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm a little troubled by some statements I heard, like BLM land is the answer, just a small percentage. Without infrastructure, I don't care where it is. Okay, you can buy desert $1,500 an acre all day long. They've been sitting on the market for 2 and 3 years. The DU on an acre of land, you can put 300 units on an acre if you want to. So I'd be more interested in hearing a 10-point plus, because it's going to take at least 10 points, of how that would be feasibly accomplished, using anything, BLM or other ones, okay? $1,500 an acre is dirt cheap. Second, I come from family veterans, okay, so don't get me wrong. I heard you talk about veterans, but I'd like to see politicians stop putting the brunt of their quote good deeds on the backs of private people, taxpayers like myself, okay? the VA loans, the VA no-nos, as we call them, that means VA no paying any escrow, no paying any title. But the problem is the politicians make this sound great. But that fee is put on the seller of the property. So you're punishing the seller to do a good deed to try and help out with that. I'm in the industry. Do you know how many offers get pushed aside because it's a VA no-no? It's got to be structured different because you're beating up the public. Okay, so I have 2 questions. Thank you.
I believe Amy, your turn to start.
Okay, so let's start with the BLM land. The issue is not building it. We have the infrastructure. We're not a third world country. We're an advanced nation. We can make things happen. Look at the private sector, how fast it is to build things. But because of the bureaucrats, the government, look at the DMV. Why does it take forever? It's because of government, right? So when we release land, what I'm doing ahead of time, even before I'm there, I'm talking to different developers to make sure when we release federal land, it's going to overlap certain things. So we don't have to deal with the state bureaucrats and regulation. We can go straight to the county, wherever that BLM land is going to release. Remember, there's 90% of it across this nation. We need builders. Every builders would love to jump on this. You know, digging, building, welding, everything. The thing is that,
We don't want to build in those areas.
but there's certain areas, you have to look up the 5 freeway, look up the other area where all, maybe, I think, have you looked up all the BLM land across the station? But there's areas where you can do it, but maybe that's just your opinion. But the thing is that it's doable. We have a lot of land. We can build on it. We just need to release it. Because state of California, they're not going to do that. So we have to take the other route for Congress.
Thank you. So it's interesting because I've heard this plan before one time a while ago, and and I think Amy, you go off roading as well. I think it's a family, right? So my family we go dirt biking, we go to BLM land, we go to Aquatine Wells, we go to Salt Sea. You're absolutely right. You can open all the land in the world. No one wants to live there because it's too hot, too far, too whatever. You can build all the housing you want at the cost of the taxpayer money, and no one's going to live. Look at the Salt Sea. The community there. There's homes already there. No one lives there. So you have to approach this with a thoughtful approach. And I appreciate you saying that. I'll tell you right now, I'm not an expert when it comes to VA loans because I've never had that option. And one of the things I'll do is make sure I put experts around me so I can understand. Nothing's ever free, folks. Nothing's ever free. There's always a cost of something. And there's a benefit to some, and there's a cost to something. And then maybe we can do something in regards to maybe a nonprofit, like they have, I don't know. I would love to have folks like you to tell me, hey, this is what's going on, and this is how we can fix it, all right? I'm not gonna stand up here and say I know it all. I'm gonna tell you when I don't. In this case, this is the first time I've heard it. I would love to pick the brains of veterans that have to go through this, and then the sellers that have to go through this. Because I've never had to sell a house to a veteran with a VA loan before, so that's something I've learned today. But when it comes to real estate, you're absolutely right. You can build whatever you want, but if you don't have a market there, no one's going to buy. It's going to be a waste of time, waste of money. And I don't want to send the folks that need a $40,000 house to the desert. And one of the things that we did in Cerritos is we looked for land that's actually owned by Caltrans over by the 5 freeway and that street, Orange Store, Valley View. And that's a huge lot of land. We were actually trying to acquire that as a city to buy it. Because as you know, the state likes to push housing regulations down to local levels, and then they have this mandate, and then we're forced to actually look for RENA homes, right? And so as a city, we actually went and looked at Caltrans property. We asked them, hey, can we buy your property? And so that we're going to develop from there with developers. So we actually did address, and then guess what? Those folks who actually live in the community, not out in the desert. And I guarantee you, if we were able to acquire that, a developer would love to come in and build in Cerritos.
I want to thank you, audience member, for bringing up the topic of housing and permit in this state. It's a very important issue. Thank you for bringing that to the attention of our audience.
And not everywhere is desert land, just to let you know, BLM, it's not all desert.
And then someone that's working in the back. So my question, which is the first question, is there anything about America's foreign policy that you do not agree with? That's question number one. And the person in the back, a tougher question, wanted me to ask this. Amy, why would you make a better congresswoman than Chung Vo? And Chung Vo, why would you make a better congressman than Amy? That was a question coming from the back.
I believe it is your turn.
I'm sorry. Let me answer the first question. The second question, why I think a better Congress member than Amy. I don't know Amy too well. I mean, we were getting to know each other a little bit as we we're doing this. But I'll tell you why I think I would be a better choice. One, like I said earlier, I will be the one that beats Derek Tran in the general, right? And then once that happens, what I'm going to be is I'm going to make a promise, and I don't make promises I can't keep, and folks from Cerritos know this. I'll be accessible. I'll be working, and you'll see me actually in the district. I'll be in DC when I have to be, but when I'm not in DC, you will actually see me in the district at 45, and I've been working with the groups here. The things I want to work on is make sure that the representation is true and clear and transparent. And when I say that, it's because we have failed as government to not represent our people when we get elected. We talk about how I'm going to go there, I'm going to showcase me and this and that. But at the end of the day, sometimes they call us leaders, but really they call us representatives for a reason. We represent you folks. And when you folks tell us what to do, we have to make sure we represent that. And Derek Tran right now is not that guy. For him to sign a resolution, not sign the anti-socialist resolution, he represents Little Saigon here. The people of Little Saigon fled the Communist Party. And for him not to sign that along with the Republican politics, I think that sends a loud message that he's not representing his constituents here, right? So I'll tell you this, I will represent the people, but not just in Little Saigon, but all over the 45th District. One interesting thing I see in the Westminster Council meeting is that when we have folks that come to speak to the council, sometimes I feel like they get discounted or pushed aside by the mayor. And he doesn't let them speak. He doesn't let them have a discussion. Sometimes he even shuts down. Apparently he shut down Amy over there. But so things like that is really crazy for me to see at the local level. And then send that to Congress. I don't know. So that's what makes me different, is that I will talk to you. I will talk to the people. And guess what? You'll be able to have access to me. I tell my staff this. The folks will call me first before they call them. And that's how I'm going to run my life. Congressman, thank you.
Question regarding foreign policy.
Foreign policy, yes. One of the things that I want to get rid of is the U.S. ID. That's something that we, as a policy, for us to send money overseas for programs that have nothing to do with anything legitimate that represents the value of America, we need to stop that. That's the one foreign policy that I'm going to go after, and they're doing it right now, which is great, but they're getting a lot of kickbacks as well, right? So we got to make sure that policy, to me, that's one of the most, and when they talk about millions and billions of dollars going to overseas for countries that are doing crazy stuff that we don't even want to be done here. Sending condoms to another country to prevent, is that really our problem? No, right? I mean, yeah, we are a great nation. We're a great nation that, we want peace throughout the world, but we're not the nation that rules the world. We help, absolutely, but we can't help at the detriment of our own country. Right now, our debt ceiling's high. We have huge deficits. We have problems here locally. We got to make sure that we don't have that policy in place anymore. We need to get rid of that and make sure that the only money we send overseas has value to American citizens. Thank you.
What I would focus on is the war holocaust, right? Arcady. Because the thing is that they are using weapons. We have tried to go into a different country, try to invade, to try to make it better, but the warmonger, that's not the reason why we're over there. There's other things that we're doing, and I don't like that. I want to address that day one. And then two, is that, we have to, which you already touched on, which is very important to me, that I touched on earlier, is that sending money outside to other countries. We don't need to do that. We need to address that. Why, number one, are we sending money to, Libya, to, with LGBTQ and all those things. We don't need that because we all know the money that's sent to there is to come back to their pocket, line their pocket. We all know that, so we need to hold them accountable. And that is the second thing I will hold them accountable on day one. So thank you. And then I guess the question.
Senator, why would you make it better member?
Okay, so you guys all know I've been a fighter through and through, and I don't back down. I get punched by a finger. Well, not literally, but you know what I mean? The full council, like they are known to be woman beater, right? Pretty much. And the thing is that I have not stopped. I'm not talking about, throwing the woman card or anything, but I'm the only woman on the dais and they don't care. But in our culture as Americans, we don't beat on women, we respect them. You know what I mean? And for the thing is that for them to do that is un-American and unconstitutional. Now, the reason is what they've done to me, and for me to escape in a war-torn country all my life, and I've always had to fight to defend. And even when I was in high school, people who are being mistreated, I always come to their defense. Even within the Republican, when other people were running for office, I stick my neck out, even though the establishment didn't like it. But when it's right to stick your neck out for someone, you do it. You do it, you speak out for them. And for example, with our legislature, this is what I did. Our Republican legislature vote to sexualize our children, not only in public school, but in charter school. I brought it up to our party, yet our party discarded it because they say we have to protect this person. So that way the Democrats, we have to hush hush. No, if it's within our Republican Party, we need to clean house. We have to address our house issue. And for the Republican Party, have done that to the Orange County, not holding them to the fire, the foot to the fire, or the vote to the fire. I think it's an issue we have within our own party, and we need to address that. And if we can't address the House issue, how can we address the Democrat issue, right? When we have our own issue as well. Like right now, one of our legislature were pushing, what was that? Voting for a Muslim bill or something in Sacramento. Diane Dixon, that you guys were there recently. But the thing is that our party needs to address that. For example, Lori Davis and Diane Dixon signed the amnesty with one of the other legislatures. Do you guys remember that? But the GOP did not address that. I don't know if you guys know about that. Maybe you guys haven't informed on your elected official assembly and state senate. But anyways, it's important for us to know what our state legislature is doing and putting through, and we have to hold our own party accountable for them, address it. That's what we need to do, and that's what I will do. Thank you.
So there's about 15 minutes left in this. I would like to give both of the questions, the opportunity to ask questions. I'm going to limit the candidates to 1 minute to respond. Other than that, I have to ask you guys to give say the statements quickly. I'll also give both of you guys the opportunity to give a 3-minute closing statement at the end of it. First of all, let you ask your question.
So first question, to follow up on the third question, would you, as a council member, would you vote to continue aid to Ukraine? And secondly, you're both presenting yourself as conservative Republican, but this district is about 30% independent. So how are you planning to win over the independent moderate votes? And then number 3, if you don't finish in the second place on ballot, will you pledge to support whoever comes in second?
Okay, so I'll answer the last question. Yes. If I come in third, I will support my Republican opponent. Not a problem at all, because I think that's fair game. Now, the second question was, did you say the independent and the moderate? Yes. For me, I have talked to many of you guys, like earlier, I mentioned The two-party system, they're no different, okay? I have go against my Republican, and I have addressed certain hard issue because that's not conservative. I don't care if our own party are doing something wrong, we need to address it. I have no problem with that. So I have people who don't like me within our party, and I'm okay with that. And I have the Democrats who don't like me because I'm not Democratic. But the thing is that I'm an independent thinker, and it's important to vote on the values that you hold dear to and why you're fighting for the people. So you're an independent thinker. I don't follow in suit with my Republican Party all the time. When they say we cannot support unions, I do. I support union, meaning the carpenter, I support them because they are the blue collar. They are the backbone of our nation. Like, why would I support them? It's common sense, right? So that's what I'm talking about, is that for us to be independent thinker, we don't need anyone to just follow in suit in line, and that's it, and not to think for yourself and not to think for the people you represent. So I will think for the people that I represent.
Thank you. Answer your question, Ukraine. Yeah, I'm not big on Ukraine. So answer your question. Yeah, we need to just get that done already and move on. All right. The other question in regards to the NDPs. You know, I actually was walking today and I did speak with an NDP. He actually stopped me when I gave him a flyer. He says, I'm an NDP. I used to be a Republican, but I left the party because of whatever issues he's had, right, with Trump. And I just tell him, are you going to let one person really dictate what your beliefs are? If you believe in the Republican Party still exists. So earlier, you know, I was kind of questioned that I was a moderate Republican, but all I'm hearing right now from Amy is that she's going against a lot of Republican stuff. So it just makes me wonder, who is the moderate here, right? So I am a conservative. The NDPs, how I'm going to win them over is this. Those folks don't care about party. That's why they care about people. They care about the person running. And at the end of the day, I feel like I speak more to the people regardless of party affiliation, because at the end of the day, I'm only going to do what the people need in my district, regardless of your party. I just so happen the values I have, the things that I believe in, align with the Republican Party, right? And so that's why I'm a Republican and I'm proud of it. But at the end of the day, the service of government comes back down to serving those that live in the district regardless of party. If the Democrats don't want to vote for me, guess what? I still have to make sure we serve them because they live in the district, right? And so at the end of the day, the NDPs will only look at the person that's running and not the party, and I'm that person.
Can I read that?
30 seconds was mentioned in the last answer.
So you're talking about me not being conservative. The party has left us. They have endorsed. They took God out of our platform. When we were both delegates before, right? And Malcolm, you know that. And we fought with the party to make sure we keep God at the center. Not only that, we're welcome LGBTQ, where, you know, if we're true conservative, we don't push those things. Family values, right? The party, the Republican Party has left our conservative values. So when you talk about conservative values, I am sticking with it. For you, you follow in line with what the party tells you when you say you're Republican. That's where I want to address that. And now the thing is that for we spend so much money over there, and they're pocketing it. We all know that. So no more.
So she did pretty well in her rebuttal. Anything you want to say?
I'd like to hear the next question.
Please go ahead and ask your question.
So part of it's already been answered because you're both Republican Vietnamese candidates and CA 45 has just 20% Vietnamese and only 30%. So I'm hearing your average is 70 to 80% of the district. But also,
Do you want me to answer? Do you want me to answer? Because I have the case. You don't, because I have the DA's report about me. So if you guys want to hear from the horse mouth, or you, so it's basically you don't want to hear. There you go. So I have the full report. okay? So basically, it's alleged bribery that I allege to bribe a parking control meter maid, okay? Parking control officer are basically those high school, college kids.
Downgrade,
Tickets, right?
downgrade the person.
And I was served because, you know, as there's people out there who don't like me as this because I have no problem speaking out. Now, this is the thing, alleged bribery. I have the full case. If you need me to release it, I can release it. So it's alleged bribery. And then we have actress, Ray, comes with her friends to speak. How the hell do they get to speak on my case of alleged bribery? Where's the law enforcement there to testify? That's why this is a like court. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Like, first gone to politics, he's talking about fundraising. First gone to politics, he's talking about fundraising. If you were to ask me anything, I would tell him everything, right? If I had to hire an attorney. So those whoever were out there, I'm not going to try to drain me emotionally, my family, spiritually, financially. That's what they did. And they got what they wanted, okay? And that's how evil politics are. If you are in the thick of it, if you don't go in step line with them, that's what happened to you. So I've seen the court system, how they use the court system to hurt the people on the ground who don't have the resources or to silence them. That's what they do. They use the court system. If you guys experience it, you know. So I will make sure we have accountability, and not only that in the court system, that we will have live streaming, so there's no
Yeah, I'm not going to address the situation with Amy because I'm not involved in that, okay? So I think you had a couple other questions that I'm proud of is that the party. When it comes to addressing how do we also get votes outside of Little Saigon, I've worked really hard. My campaign as candidates around the area. They're all very important to me, and so I actually have addressed that. We focus on our campaign, not just in Westminster, although I do have support in Westminster. I have a group that have reached out to me as well. It's also canvassing Westminster, Garden Grove, Fountain Valley, which I'm very honored to have. But I'm also addressing those that are outside. So I'm not ignoring. Compared to ICE, when you bring up ICE, right, one of the things that I'm concerned about is this, is that especially now today, we need domestic protection more than anything else. Right? And ICE to me is a agency that makes sure that we are protected here. When we defund any law enforcement, you know, the party that was on the left continued to play this game, defunded the police, remember that? And then now they're defunding police again, like this is like a broken record over and over and over again. They're defunding federal police now. And so of all times, this is the time we need them more than anything else. And when you talk about funding ICE and we're taking away from domestic programs, without the safety net that we have, these domestic programs, you know, are in danger, right? So we want to make sure that we also fund ICE to protect the domestic programs here. Because I am really, truly concerned
I'm going to say media lies. Media does not tell the truth. Also, I read in the paper that the West case was dismissed. Now, if I were at Amy Fan West's table and my case was dismissed, I would not have even wasted the time that she wasted to try to defend herself. You do not, excuse me, I'm talking. You do not try cases in the media. You want to know the facts about cases, you go to the court system and you get the facts. You don't read the Daily Mail who lies, makes up stories. And I have to defend her because the case that I know very well about was very, very unfair against her. And that's all I want to say. Remember, media lies. You don't try cases in the media.
United States. Just a general question, is there anything that you kind of like disagree with him on what he's doing, or a direction that you think he should be going or not going? So in general, how simpatico are you with President Trump?
So this will be the last question. I'll let you both an opportunity to speak 1 minute in response. Then after both of you have the opportunity to speak, I will ask you to give your opinion. But now, give the opportunity at 1 minute.
So thank you for bringing that question up. You know, back when I started running in October, one of the things that I brought up was, you know, what we see on our TV media, federal agents more, federal agents more, resources, make sure they do it right. Because when you do it right, resources, make sure they do it right. Because when you do it right and it looks better, the outcome is better. We have to sustain this immigration enforcement for administrations down the line over and over and over again. And so we got to do it right, right? And so when that guy sat down, okay, and then months later, what did Trump say? After Minnesota said, you know what? And so when that guy sat down, okay, and then months later, what did Trump say? After Minnesota said, you know what? We got to rethink and redo this. And so right there, that vindicated what I said to this Republican member. And I called him out and remember said, remember what you said to John? You're right. You're absolutely right. And so Trump then says, like, you know, we got to redo it a little bit. And so to answer your question, I am an independent thinker. And I will speak up when I think it needs to be corrected. And it's nice to know that, you know, Trump down the line, people never talk.
We all understand that FC file isn't a lot of deep, wealthy, powerful people in that list. And I really check my social media. I post it on there. I go, the reason why they're not going to release it is because they need leverage. Leverage to vote the way they need you to vote in Congress and in the House of in the Senate. They're not going to release this because that's how they blackmail people to vote the way they want it and to push things through. And that's the only way. So with the FC file, I am completely a defender and advocate for any children who are being abused. We need to speak for them. We as adults, we have that power to do so, but those kids don't. We need to defend that because God called us for such a time as this to defend those who cannot defend themselves. And that's what we need to do. And those children, anyone molest them, anyone hurt them, anyone rape them, we need to speak out. And anyone who does it should be held to the highest consequences, prison time. You know, back in the day, when someone do that, you know what they do? They hung them. The same concept. Those people deserve Republican.
Make their case to our audience.
Not dog food. And so my dog food. And so my dad said, hey, let's stay here. We're going to leave. Bring it to dog food. And so my dad said, hey, let's stay here. We're going to leave. My dad said, hey, let's stay here. We're going to leave. Bring it the heck out of here, right? Because dog food is not something that we need you out of here, right? Because dog food is not something that we need you being. This is what the Communist Party is about. So in fleeing, and we're going to do it to make sure that we get to America. Well, values, I'll tell you right now, that 1-year-old values, I'll tell you right now, that 1-year-old kid is standing in front of you right now in Congress today. Our experience where my family risked our lives. We could have went to any other country when we were in camp. We floated on the waters. And this is a story that's not unique to any Vietnamese refugee. I just want to say that right now. But this is why the Vietnamese community is so vested in America and American values. And that's why we're so conservative, because we've seen what the Communist Party can do to our people in our country. Yes. And so, and then, you know, we could have went to any country whatsoever. my dad said, we're staying here until we can get sponsored to America. Because he knew that if we can make it to America, we can be Americans. We can go to any other country, but they'll never see us as their people. You can go to Japan, you can't be Japanese, right? This is something Ronald Reagan said a while ago. It really touched me. You go to China, you can't be Chinese, but if you can go to America, you can be American. And that's why my dad waited, and we immigrated here legally, got sponsored here legally, with the whole family. We made it here. And in doing so, I wanted to serve and give back. I'm the youngest son. You know, if I didn't do it, then I was okay. So all my life I wanted to serve. I wanted to be a police officer because I watched Chips. Who watched Chips? Right? Watching the remake wasn't as good. But I wanted to become a police officer. I saw where my life wanted to go. But I joined, I entered UCLA, I majored in biochemistry. My parents wanted me to go down the path of pre-med and also make sure that we had a doctor in the house, right? But I really felt like I wanted to serve, and that's why I did what I did. I decided when I was done with school at UCLA, I'm sorry for you USC fans, I decided to join the police force, and I wanted to serve. And then from there, I felt that I couldn't do as much as I wanted to do, and that's why I became a council member, and that's why I became a mayor. And now, out of retirement, I left retirement to serve you folks, to make sure that we have the best representation out there, because I lived a life of service, and that's what I continue to do, and that's what I want to do. And why am I here, and why am I a Republican? I'll tell you this. I lived and grew up with the values that my parents taught me. And I tell people all the time, I really believe that men are men, women are women. No matter how much medication you take, you can't change that. I believe that boys should play in boys' sports and girls should play in girls' sports. Yes. Right? And I believe that American freedom. And then after that, let us live our lives. I believe that immigration is what makes our country great. Lots of us here are immigrants, but we can't break the laws. The first thing you do to enter America and then ask American people to accept you. You have to enter America legally and then go by all the rules like we all did, and then you then can be Americans. We have when I say that these are my values and my beliefs, and I say this, and they so happen to align with the Republican Party. I say that because it's very important. It's not because I just blindly love the Republican Party. I love my values, I love what my parents taught me, and it so happens it aligns with the Republican Party, and that's why I'm a Republican. That's why I'm here, to maintain those values and make sure that we always preserve the American values for our next generation, for my kids and your grandkids, because I am really concerned that these values are being attacked today. So thank you very much for your time.
As you guys know, I'm Councilwoman Amy Fan-West. Want to get involved in politics. I got my degree in teaching at Cal State University of Long Beach. Then I went to Liien. So they compete with the world. This our job was, we can talk as parents, but your job is to teach our children so they can compete. Those elected officials look at us and they say, you guys are uneducated. And I'm like, oh my gosh. That's when I knew they were so drunk with power. And I say, I'm jumping in because we need a seat at the table. So I threw my in the hat. First, I didn't know how to do it, right? So there was a pop-up saying, hey, come to this meeting to meet your mayor and council. So I came to Chick-fil-A. I didn't know who was my mayor, who's my council, who's my elected official. That's most of America. We don't know who our officials are. So then the, Chick-fil-A person, manager points out, and I go, hey, thank you so much for coming on this weekend to talk to the constituent. I appreciate you. I want to run for office. How can I get involved? What can I do? He said, this is Huntington Beach Mayor and Council. Let me introduce you to Westminster. So that's when I put my name in the hat and I go, what can I do to run? And the council member said, there's 2 seats that come against me to destroy me. Many of you guys, that have happened to you guys, the injustice of it. To defend that and make it right for we the people. And I would be honored to vote in support because it's important for those who understand what have happened to them. They can only get it when they get there. So let me be your voice in this June election to fight for you, your family, and your way of life. And we must do that. That's the only way to do it. And for me, I'm not afraid of my life, and I know that. Because I told my kids too. Even though all this attack on me, they say, Mom, why are you in politics? I told them, because if I don't fight for you, who would? Who would fight for you? I have to pay that way for you so you can pay for your children. And I must do it. Even though all this attack, because we must do it. My kid, Noah, is the youngest child.